on their wedding night Gilgamesh ነው መጥቶ
የሚቀድመው even ባልየውን የሚቀድመው
ከባሉ በፊት Gilgamesh ነው መጥቶ ሚስቱን
That's so interesting አንተ ከባድ
this is the kind of አመፀኛ ሰው Gilgamesh was ማለት
የጊልጋሜሽ እንትን ስለሆነ ነው ወይስ ባህላቸው እንደዛ ነው
No እሱ ነው እንደዛ የነበረው cuz he founded the city በቃ that's ኢየሱስ ራ እንደዚህ ነው I told you he's a harasser man
ሰው ሁሉ ሲያገባ ሚስታቸው መጀመሪያ እሱ ነው
ምግባችሁን መጀመሪያ እኔ ነኝ የምቀምሰው ሚስታችሁንም እኔ ነኝ መጀመሪያ የምተዋወቀው ብሎ dude this guy is a
አስቡ ሊወልድ ይችላል ለምንድን ነው እንደዚህ ቅር ያለ
የ14 የ15 አመት ልጅ ሆኖ ነው የሚወልደኝ እኔ
yes በ14 አመት ወንድ ልጅ መውለድ አይችልም
ሱማ መውለድ ይችላል ሊወልደኝ ይችላል in that sense of course biologically possible ነው
ባለፈው ቲክቶክ ላይ ትላንትና ምን ያየው this የሆነ እንዴ እንትንሽ ቦይፍሬንድሽ ነው የምትሉኝ አረ ልጄ ነው ምናምን ብላ it's so creepy for ልገልጽልህ አልችልም there's a certain ግን I think she's very young and now she has like 2 kids I think እንቁላል ጥላ do you think it would be easier ሴቶች እንቁላል ቢጥሉ ወይስ ትልቅ እንቁላል ስለሚሆን do you think it would be even harder because
I think it would
babyውን የሚይዘው ደግሞ ምን
I think it would be easier ምክንያቱም ልጆች ብዙ ጊዜ ትከሻ ምናምን ስላላቸው
no ግን አስበው human ያለበት
no smooth ነው ባይዘው ህፃናት በጣም ትናንሽ ናቸው
I know ግን still ትንሽ ህፃን ነው አይደል የሚወጣው እሱን የሚይዘው እንቁላል ምን ሊያክል እንደሚችል let's say ህፃናት ይሄንን ቢያክሉ ኦኬ እንደዚህ ቢያክሉ
generous estimate እስከዚህ ሊሆን ይችላል
እሺ እኮ እንደዚህ ቢያክሉ ይሄንን ህፃን ልጅ የሚይዘውን እንቁላል ምን እንደሚያክል አስቡ ይሄን እንደዚህ ከብ ነው የሚሆነው
አረ ምን አንተ ምን አይነት እንቁላል አርገህ ነው የምታስበው
ጫጩቶች አላየህ
ስፔስሺፕ እኮ ነው አንተ እንትን የምትለው
ጫጩቶች አላየህ እንትን ሲሉ ምን እንደሚያክሉ ከእንቁላሉ አንፃር
ጥግ እስከ ጥግ እኮ ናቸው
እኮ ኖ እኮ ጥግ እስከ ጥግ
ምንም አይነት የእንትን የእንቁላል ላይክ ሲጣል ብታይ ማለት ነው ኦልሞስት በቃ ታጥፎ ምናምን ነገር እንዲህ ምናምን ብለው ቢሆን ስለዚህ ቤቢዎቹም እንቁላሉ ይሄን ነገር ነው የሚያክለው እና ጠበብ ቢላል ናሮ ነው አስበው
እኮ ግን የተጨናነቀበት እንኳን ቢሆን ወደ ጎን ምናምን ሰፊ ነው
እሱማ ሰፊ ነው ግን
እኮና
ስሙዝሊ ነው የሚወጣው
no it would be much harder
ስሙዝሊ ነው የሚወጣው
እኔ I can't believe I'm asking
I think rather than እንቁላል ከመሆን ይልቅ እንደውም እንደ ቡሌት ሼፕ ሆኖ ቢወጣ ይሻላል ብዬ ነው ማስበው እንደ ሲሊንድሪካል
እንደ ሚሳኤል ቢወጣ
it's easier on everybody ገባል የእንቁላል ሼፕ ሞዲፋይድ ሆኖ እንደዚህ ይሄ ሞላላው የ12 ብሩ ዳቦ አለ አይደል በእንደሱ አይነት
I'm curious about that question please tell us ሴት ልጅ እንቁላል ብትጥል ኦኬ this I know በጣም ደም ጥያቄ እንደሆነ ግን ሴት ልጅ እንቁላል ብትጥል would it be harder or easier እኔ I say it would be harder ምክንያቱም እንቁላሉ ከልጁ በላይ ትልቅ ነው የሚሆነው ያንን ማውጣት አስብ
that's why you're not a biologist ለዛ ነው አንተ biologist
ምን ታውቃለህ እኔ ከእንቁላል ብመጣስ ምን ታውቃለህ
አንተ ከእንቁላል ተወልደሃል by the way እንትን ታውቃለህ the monkey king ድንጋይ እንቁላል እንደተፈለፈለ
is it an actual እንትን እንዴ it's like a Chinese legend
no it's real by the way ሄደ Tiananmen Square ላይ Taipei እንኳን ታይዋን ውስጥ ነው ሄደ Tiananmen which is not a real country
ምንድነው what's Tiananmen
Taiwan is not a real country
ሙሴ ማንንም እየገባ አይደለም at least እኔ
no
you're saying Taiwan is not a real country
ከተግባባን አንተ ምን አገባ
ሰውዬ እባክህ ገና ሲዝኑን ሳንጨርስ ምንድነው
no we're not China እስከወደደን ድረስ ሁሌ ማርኬት አለ
no actually
Taiwan is not a country is not a country
calm down ይሄን በዚህ ማውጣት አለበት
አላወጣም ይሄንን ኤዲት አድርጌ አላወጣም
አይ ለምንድነው ልንገርህ ትላንት የሆነ ቲክቶክ ላይ ያየው who has the most powerful እንትን ሚሊታሪ ሳይሆን ሚሊታሪ ኢንተለጀንስ like እንደነ ሞሳድ ሲክሬት ሰርቪስ ምናምን ይያሉ the one with the biggest reach የቻይና እንደሆነ ታውቃለህ
yes
so አሁን ራይት ነው የቻይና ካሜራ እያየን ሊሆን ይችላል
exactly so Taiwan is not a country ስላልኩኝ ቻይናዎች ደስ ይላቸዋል
ቻይናዎች ለምንድን ነው እንደዛ
because Taiwan is still a Chinese province
እንደዛ ብለው እንትን ሊሏት ነው ያሰቡት
ምክንያቱም it's just like ኤርትራን ምን እንዳረጓት ማለት ነው
ማለት
ታይዋን ሆንግ ኮንግ ምናምን ብዙ like for a long time the British ምናምን ሴትል አድርገው ነበር እዛ ቆይተው ነበር እና so protectorate ሆነው ነበር these ታይዋን እና ሆንግ ኮንግ ማለት ነው ከዛ ሲወጡ these Brits በጣም እንትን ዲስኮርድ ሰው አድርገው ነው የወጡት በቃ የሆነ የራሳቸውን ጥላቻን ዘርተው ከዛ እና በቃ የሆነ የራሳቸው አገር እንዲሆኑ በቃ ያንን ሲድ so yeah that's what they always do ሁሌ divisive የሆነ ስትራቴጂ ነው ያላቸው በምንም አይነት ሀገር ሄዶ ኦኩፓይ ለማድረግ እንዲመቻቸው ህዝቡን በመከፋፈል ነው እንትን የሚሉት ማለት ነው
yeah divide and conquer
exactly that's exactly the strategy so that ከዛ ግን the problem is እነሱ ተነስተው ሲወጡ that mindset እነሱ በቃ ምቾታቸውን ነው ስኳራቸው ቶባኮአቸው ምናምን their fruits and vegetables produce ማደረጉ እንዳይቋረጥባቸው ነው አይደለ or whatever exports that they're sending back home እንዳይቋረጥባቸው የሚሰሩትን ነገር ግን የሰዎችን ላይፍ በሙሉ በቃ መሰቃቅሎ ነው የሚመጡት ምክንያቱም እነዚህ ሰዎች አሁን እኛ ሀገር ነን we're a country ብለው ማሰብ ይጀምራሉ we've always had our own thing when in truth it's just 200 years ago እናንተ እንደዚህ አይነት ሐሳብ ማሰብ የጀመራችሁ
እንጂ የቻይና ግዛት ነበረች ታይዋን የምትባል ሀገር አልነበረችም ነው ጭራሽ
it's like a province አሁን ግን country ነን ብለው እኮ ነው ለመገንጠል እየሞከሩ ያሉት
ታይዋንማ እኛ እስከምናውቀው in modern እንትን እንደተማር ነው history Taiwan is a country አይደል
I'm going to edit that out
ግን ለምን እንደሆነ my point
Taiwan is not a country
አይ ፖይንቴን እንትን ልበል ለምሳሌ አፍሪካ ውስጥ ማለት ነው ያሉት ካንትሪዎች እንዳለ ካንትሪ ስለሆኑ ነው ወይስ ቀኝ ሲገዙን ስለከፋፈሉ ነው
ስለከፋፈሉ
exactly so what I'm saying is in the modern world ምንም ኤግዚስት የሚያደርግ ካንትሪ የሆነ በቀኝ ግዛት ስለተከፋፈለ ነው እንጂ የግድ ሂስቶሪካል ሬሌቫንስ ስላለው ወይ ደግሞ ከድሮ ጀምሮ ስለሆነ
እሱን I understand
so አይደለም ማለት አትችልም
I understand that but that works because African countries እኛ እንደዚህ መሆን እንፈልጋለን ብለው ተስማምተው ቀጠሉ አይደለ but in this context ቻይና አልተስማማችም
እኮ ቻይና ጉልቤ የሆነች ነው
ስለዚህ ነው ከቻይና ጋር ተስማምቻለሁ ታይዋን is not a country
እኔ አይገባኝ
ዝም በል ኤዲት አውት አደርጋለሁ ምን ታመጣለህ
እኔ ነው ኤዲት አውት
by the way I'm going to show you some premium CCCRP strategies completely censor no ማድረግ like the communist party that's what I'm going to do to you I don't know CCRP or something Chinese Communist Republic Party I don't know ብቻ እንደዛ ነው እልሃለሁ
ግን አሁን ወደ ዛሬው እንትን
ከምን ተነስተን ነው ታይዋን ሀገር አይደል
I don't know አንተ I think ከመሬት ተነስተን ነው
no ዝም ብዬማ ከመሬት ተነስቼ ልለው አልችልም
ትችላለህ
አልችልም እንቁላል ምናምን ባዮሎጂ
እንቁላል ቢሆን it's harder
ምናምን stone egg god damn it yes so the monkey king Sun Wukong ማለት ነው oh yeah I was ልሰክስህ ነበር
please
the forbidden city ውስጥ እንትን like yeah the እንትን ፓላስ ውስጥ ብትገባ there's like the shells የተሰባበሩት የማንኪ king
really ባላ
እና እሱ ደግሞ አሁን እንትን የሆነ ተራራ ላይ ቁጭ ብለው ሜዲቴት እያደረገ ነው
really ካላቸው ብዙ ሺህ ጋዶች ውስጥ አንዱ ነው the monkey king
they don't have that many gods
they
have a lot of heavenly nobles let's say
የሰማይ ከበርቴዎች
it's weird it's a very strange thing
ምንድነው ግን አክቹሊ ምንድነው መሪ ሪሊጅናቸው እኮ ስለ ቻይና እንዳለ ባንድ እንትን ነው ያው ክርስቲያኒቲ ባንድ እንትን ነው የምትመራው
so technically it's a communist country.
It is እኮ so አንድ እምነት ነው
they're old no
communist በሪሊጅን አያምንም ማለት
of course so there are Christians there are like few Muslim communities I think and then Buddhists አሉ ብዙ there's a lot of Buddhists cuz again the interesting thing about it is it's like የድሮ ሪሊጅናቸው በቃ just they assimilated Buddhism into it. So it's like
Buddhism ka communism ga ተደባልቆ ነገር ነው
not communism no Buddhism ma እንትን ይገባው
እኮ Buddhism ከድሮ ጀምሮ
no forget communism is not a religion it's just a ስርዓት
ያገዛዝ ስርዓት
exactly it's just a governing system አይደለ so it's not the religion it's just forget communism we're talking about the religion አይደለ so in their even their religion is very interesting so they do have like older forms older mythology ምናምን አላቸው
the Greek
ግን for a long time especially during Confucian times እንትናቸው their religious system was more like a divine bureaucracy so it's so interesting
it is communism
no it's not like that so dude stop saying communism is like a recent development this is like thousands of years ago so they believe that the Jade Emperor is the ruler of the heavens ማለት ነው
እና he's like the king of the gods አይነት ነው is it like
kind of like that it's not like that I told you it's a heavenly bureaucracy it's not a pantheon it's not like a pantheon it's like there are officials like they fill the positions of gods they do the duties of gods and deities they're technically deities but they are officials in this cosmic bureaucracy so the Jade Emperor is like basically like the top dog
ሚኒስተሮች እንደማለት ነው
በቃ ሚኒስተሮች አሉ ጀነራሎች አሉ ምናምን ከዛ the heavenly general እንትና ምናምን and then በቃ like ሄደው ዲመኖችን ስማይት የሚያደርግ እንትና አለ ምናምን and then the heavenly ቆነጃጅቶች አሉ whatever and then there's the queen mother and there's
a whole society አለ
it's an entire thing
actually interesting
yeah so they're immortals basically
ግን አይሞቱም እሺ
yeah
ግን ኖርማል ሰዎችም አሉ
the Jade Emperor and his family it's I think they're a constant ግን people can ascend so basically the principle behind it it's a lot like Buddhism is that you can cultivate your spirit and become an immortal so
that's very interesting
it's a foreign concept yeah so
how you በሌላ religion የለም
actually in older like even in Greek even in Hebrew society እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር ነበር
really
yeah like there's traces of this it's everywhere so what you go out you become an ascetic is like የምድር ነገር ንቆ you go up into the mountains and that's more Buddhist ምናምን so how you meditate is you practice your whatever it is እና በጣም ብዙ ጊዜ you spend a lot of time thinking on it it's less about reaching nothingness in some ways because Buddhism is about becoming one with nirvana madras is nothing more አይደለ and now you become one with Buddha ግን here it's more about meditating ከዛ ራስን enlightened ታደርጋለህ enlightened ስትሆን you add 100 years to your life or something and then የሆነ ነገር cultivate እያደረግ and then so there are like pills and elixirs that you take that can add 1,000 years to your life ምናምን
የት ፋርማሲ ነው የሚሸጠው ቻይና ውስጥ 1000 ዓመት የሚጨምርልን ነገር ትላለህ
I don't know but ቲያንሺ ውስጥ ነው ትላለህ
the last time ፊል የሰሩ ድረስ አገር አለማችንን ዘግተዋል so let's not again this is very interesting
so yeah you cultivate your spirit and you become an immortal so an immortal it varies you can be an immortal and then ረጅም ዓመት ኖረ you can still die that's technically an immortal or ደግሞ እንደ Sun Wukong you can go up into heaven and then steal all the elixirs and pills of immortality and just ዝም ብለህ add 100 million ምናምን thousand years to your life and then ከዛ ደግሞ ዲስቲል አድርገው ኤሊክሲሮቹን ከቦዲስ ሊያወጡት ሲል the furnace will refine the elixirs and diffuse it into your system and then you just become more and more powerful.
So መስረቅ ትችላለህ ካኔን ይወድ
basically
ለምን ተደራጅተን ሄደን
no ግን
normal so
only Sun Wukong could do it.
That is very actually that's so interesting. እሺ ግን ዛሬ ወደ እንትኑ እንግባ.
But yeah,
welcome. That is so very interesting.
Yeah.
ሌላ ቀን ስለ ሌላ ሪሊጅኖች ዲስከቨር የምናደርግበት ኤፒሶድ ይኖር ይሆንነ maybe
ምናልባት I think it would be fun. I think
it's very interesting.
ብዙ ነገር ማውራት መነጋገር ያው እናቴ በጣም ነው የሚደብራት ግን ላንቺ ብዬ አይደለም እንትኑ
so እኔ ምዳደባል no he doesn't mean it please በጣም ይቅርታ እንጠይቃለን ግን እሺ welcome to episode 6 for the very first time very first time ዛሬ I'm so excited welcome
እንኳን ደህና መጣችሁ ሰግደን ኖር ብለን በእግዚአብሔር ባቦቹ ብለናል
ዛሬ በጣም ስፔሻል ኤፒሶድ ነው የሚገርማችሁ ለምን ብያለሁ ለምን መሰለ ከአምስት ኤፒሶድ ኦፍ አቢዩስ በኋላ እኔ ስለፈልፍ ግርግዳ እያየ እኔ ስለፈልፍ እግሬን እያየ ጽህን እየጠቀለልክ ዞር ብለህ ሳታይ ዛሬ ግን ያው እግዚአብሔር ፈርዶ ዛሬ ሙሴን ቁጭ ብለን የምንሰማበት እኔ ጀርባውን ሰጣው ልበቀለው ነው የመጣው
exactly
ግን ዛሬ ሙሴ ስፔሻል ነገር ይዞልን
yes exactly እንደዛ አድርጌ መጥቻለሁ
ይህ ነገር ምንድር ነው
እሺ የኢትዮጵያ ዶጮዎች ሆይ እንደምን አላችሁ
ባይዘ ኢንተርናሽናል ኮሚኒቲ ሊኖረን
የዓለም አቀፍ ዶጮዎች በሙሉ እንደምን አላችሁ
ደህና እግዚአብሔር ይመስገን
nice ዛሬ
what do you have for us
interesting የሆነ ነገር ለማድረግ I think እንደውም አሁን ከጀመርነው ነገር ጋር ትንሽ ታች የሚያረግ ቀመስ አርጋ የምትወጣ አይነት ሰብጀክት ነው ያው ይሄንን ሁሉ ጊዜ ዲስከስ እናረግ ምናምን ብዙ ጠለቅ ያሉ ሐሳቦችን ስናወራና ስናወጋ ቆይተናል እና እስቲ ዛሬ ምናልባት ለምን ስቶሪ ታይም አድርገን ሁላችንም ኢንጆይ ያረግን እንትና እንልማለን ከዛ ግን instead of relaxing እና enjoyable የሆነ ነገር ከማንበብ ይልቅ በጣም old እና
አስጨናቂ
ፈታኝ የሆነ ታሪክ እንትልልባችሁ መጥቻል it's actually very interesting የሆነ ታሪክ ነው
really ዛሬ so that is story time ማለት
story time ነው ዛሬ
ሙሴ አባ ጋሽ ሙሴ ዛሬ
እኔው ነኝ
ጋሽ ሙሴ ዛሬ ታሪክ ነግሮ በደብ አርጎ ይሰክሰናል እኛም እስቲ ጆሮአችንን አድፍጠን
አየ እንደዚህ ሲሆን ነው ይሄ ማይክ እንትን የሚለው
ያው እንደዚህ are you happy now
በጣም happy ነኝ thank you ብቻ
እሺ ሙሴ
ስለዚህ
ዛሬ ስለምንድን ነው የምንነግረው
okay ዛሬ one of if not the oldest recorded stories in history
the oldest recorded
one of if not the oldest recorded written
የምር በታሪክ በሙሉ the oldest history ነው
the oldest story
ከሙሴ መጽሐፍቶች ይቀድማል isn't that the oldest story
no it's not so it's the content of it is older obviously the Torah ማለት ነው creationንም ስለሚ no I'm talking about record የተደረገበት ጊዜ ይሄ
oh really
yeah
okay she what's that
because the Torah was like Moses what was he like 4000 or 3800 to 4000 years ago Moses የኖረው
በዛ ጊዜ ነው ዘዎችን የጻፈው ዘፍጥረት ዘጸአት
basically ግን the epic of Gilgamesh was like discovered in Sumer or in Uruk
nice so ዛሬ ስለምንድን ነው የምንነግረው
the epic of Gilgamesh
ምንድን ነው በአማርኛ አለው
እኔ እንጃ ተተርጉሞ ከሆነ አላውቅም
የጊልጋሜሽ አግራሞት አስገራሚው ጊልጋሜሽ
ገድል የጊልጋሜሽ ገድል
የጊልጋሜሽ ገድል
አንተ
የጊልጋሜሽ
ገድል እኔ ትራንስሌት እኔ ሙሴ ትራንስሌት አርጌ ይሄንን ነገር ገንዘብ ባላገኝበት
እንዲሁም ስቶሪ ታይም ላይ
አንድ ሰው ደግሞ ፐብሊሽ ሲያደርግ ባገኝ ማለት ነው ታገኛታላችሁ
የጊልጋሜሽ ገድል አይ መጽሐፍ ተጽፎበታል ጥያቄ ፕሮባብሊ የግልጋሜሽ ገድል ላይ
በአማርኛ ተጽፎ ከሆነ
ሜቢ የተተረጎመ
ብዙ ግን በሌላ ቋንቋ በደንብ ኤክስፓውንድ የተደረገ አንተ ሰዎች ሙሉ ላይፋቸውን ያረጉበት እንትን ነው እና it's very interesting so ይሄ ታሪክ እንዴት የሚገርም አይነት
ከመጀመር በፊት why are we ለምን ዛሬ ስቶሪ ታይም ብለን እንትላለን የሚለው ባጠር ባለመልኩ basically ስለ ስቶሪ ታይም yes ስለ ብዙ አይዲያዎች እናወራለን ከዚህም በኋላ ስለ ብዙ አይዲያዎች በደንብ in depth እንነጋገራለን ግን the truest የሰው ልጅ መስታወት ምንድነው ታሪክ ነው
exactly
so ታሪክን በማስታወስ ወይም ስለ ታሪክ በማንሳት we could learn a lot from history ብለን ከዛ ውስጥ እስቲ ዛሬ ደግሞ ስቶሪ ታይም and then ስለዚህ ስቶሪ in depth ሙሴ ይነግረናል ከዛን እስቲ ምንማረው ደግሞ እናያለን
yes እሺ ልጆች አሁን ሻይ ምናምን ያዙ ፖዝ አድርጉ ቪዲዮአችሁን ከፈለጋችሁ ስናክ ድሪንክ የሆነ ደስ የሚል ነገር ምን አንተ ትልቅ ልጅ አይደለ እንዴ ምን ያስፈልጋል እንደሱ አይነት ነገር
not በመግ አንዴ ደሞ አቀድቼ
just to spite me
yes just to spite you በመግ
ምን ካት ማይደረቅ መስሎኝ
ታረጋስ አንተ ያወራ እኔ እየጣማኝ ነው
አይዞ
እንደዛ
ግን ምንድነው ኢንጃረክ
ዛሬ ሙሴ ሲሰክሰኝ እኔ ውሃ ጠጣለሁ እሺ ፕሊዝ ሶሪ ስላቋረጥ
ፕሊዝ
የርጎ ዝምቦንኩብ ይቅርታ ሁለት ነጥብ ወልኩብ ሶሪ I'm sorry I'm just excited አንተ ለማቋረጥ
እሺ ጀምር አቋርጠኛ
ይከተል በቃ እሺ ሶ የጊልጋሜሽ ገድል
እና በጣም ኢንትረስቲንግ የሆነው የዚህ ታሪክ ደስ የሚለው ነገር is ታብሌት በዩኒፎርም በክሌ ታብሌት ላይ ነው የሚሰሩት አይደለ
እንደ
ሸክላ ታብሌት ላይ ነው እንትን የሚሉት actually ግብፃውያን ፓፒረስ በወረቀት አይደለም የሚሰሩ የነበሩት ካሞን ብሮ ኦር ደግሞ እንትን ግድግዳ ላይ እንትን ያደርጋሉ ግን እነዚህ they had clay tablets እና ስለዚህ ስክራይቦች እንደነግ ካት የተደረገው ኤፒሶዳችን ላይ እንዳወራሁት so ስክራይቦች በጣም have always had a place ሜሶፖታሚያ ውስጥ ማለት ነው especially ከድሮ ጀምሮ written language እነሱ ስለሆኑ one of the first earliest የፈጠሩት ሁሌ የስክራይብ ቦታ ነበረ
so the story is based in Mesopotamia
well Mesopotamia is the area ግን ኡሩክ የምትባል ከተማ ውስጥ ናት እንትኑ ታሪኩ የሚፈጠረው ማለት ነው እና ሶ ስክራይቦች ሁሌ ነበሩ እና ታብሌት ላይ ነው እንትን ሁሉም ነገር የሚመዘገበው ከዛ ስትማርም የሸክላ ታብሌት ይዘህ ትሄዳለህ ፍሬሽ ሸክላ
ታብ ነበራቸው እነሱ
ነበራቸው
የመጀመሪያ
ታብ ነበራቸው ፔኗም ነበራቸው ኤክስቴንሽን እሱን አፕል $100 ከፍለ እንትን አፕግሬድ የምታረገው
ግን ሁሉም ሰው በታብሌት የምር ነው የሚጠቀመው
yeah so it's really interesting ሄደ እንደዛ ተለማመዳለ I think ልጆች መሬት ላይ ነው የሚጽፉት ምናምን ጭቃ ላይ whatever ብቻ ከዛ ስክራይቦቹ ሄደው ታብሌት ላይ እንደዚህ ምልክት እየሰሩ ዩኒፎርማቸውን ይሰራሉ ከዛ they fire the clay later and then እሱ preserved ይሆናል ታብሌቱ ይደርቃል
በቀለም ነገር ነው የሚጽፉበት
no በቃ ካርቭ ያደርጉታል they write it into
በቀላሉ ነው እንትን ሸክላ ስለሆነ
it's wet clay it's soft clay ገና ከዛ እሱን ፋየር ያደርጉታል በኋላ ከጨረሱ በኋላ
እንዝን ደርቆ
ያደርቁታል ከዛ ደርቆ ይቆያል nothing happens to it
ከዛ የሆነ ሩም ውስጥ ዝም ብለው ያከማቸው
ያስቀምጡታል ግን ያው አንዳንዴ so what's interesting about this story is so ሲገኝ carbon dating ምናምን ሲሰሩበት it's like ancient ከcarbon dating በላይ ትራንስሌት አድርገው እንትን ሲሉት ኡሩክን ነው ሜንሽን የሚያደርገው ኡሩክ ደግሞ is an old city በጣም it's like a very old city and so this is like a 5000 year old story ማለት ነው basically እና የሚያሳዝነው ነገር is missing የሆኑ ብዙ ፓርቶች አሉ ያው ሸክላ ስለሆነ ይሁን ነገር ሲሆን ይጎዳል ምናምን እነሱ for them it's it's every day የሆነ ደብተር ላይ ወረቀት እንደሚቀደድ ምናምን አይነት ነገር ሊሆን ይችላል ለኛ ግን it's 5000 years of like missing history ገባ አይደለ በጣም ከባድ ነው የሚሆንበት እኛ like ብዙ ነገር ነው የሚጠፋው በታሪክ ውስጥ ማለት ነው መሬት ሲንቀጠቀጥ ብዙ ነገር ይወድማል እሳት ብዙ ነገር ያጠፋል እንትን ምን ያዳል
ዋር ምናምን ለራሱ
ሰው ራሱ በቃ አውጥቶ ትራሽ ያረጋል ኦር ሪሜክ ያረጋሉ ምናምን ለኛ ጭራሹም ማያስቡ ገባ
በኢትዮጵያ ታሪክ ለራሱ ስንት መጽሐፍ ነው ተቃጠለ የሚባል አይደል
ተወኝ እኔ እሱን ስንት ዘመን አልቅሼ እንደጨረስኩኝ አጣቅም እናስመልሳለን አይዟችሁ ወገኖቼ እነዚህን እንግሊዞች አስለቅሰን እናስመልሳቸዋለን እና ብዙ ፒሶች ጠፍተው ነበር ግን contextual clues አሉ ሶ በኮንቴክስት አንዳንድ ነገሮችን ይሞሉ ከዛ ደግሞ ደስ የሚል ነገር አንዳንድ ደግሞ የተማሪዎች ታብሌት እየተገኘ መጣ ሶ ላይክ ሚሲንግ ፓርቶችን በሱ ፒስ ያረጉ ያጣፉ ያደባለቁ they made like a whole thing ማለት ነው እና
ሶ የምር ተማሪዎች ምናምን ነበራቸው ማለት ነው ክላስ ምናምን በዛ ጊዜ
I mean እንደኛ አሁንኛ ነርሰሪ ኬጂ ምናምን እንደሚባለው አይገቡም ግን የሆነ እድሜ ደረሰ ሲባል ምናልባት የ12 አመት ልጅ ስትሆን በቃ ስክራይብ ለመሆን እንትን ትላለህ if you can afford it
okay
so the epic of Gilgamesh
Gadol
yes translated and with an introduction by Andrew George እናመሰግናለን in every እንደዚህ አይነት ስቶሪዎች ውስጥ እንደዚህ ኤፒኮች ውስጥ ምናምን dramatis personae የሚባል ነገር አለ which is cast basically so የድራማዎች ውስጥ ያሉት ፐርሰኖች ላቲን cast ማለት ነው basically so in this
drama personae ነው የሚባለው
dramatis personae
የድራማው ፐርሰናሎች እንደማለት
ፐርሰኖች yeah basically so it's just the cast basically so we have Gilgamesh remember these names ስሞቹን ያስታውሱ አቶ ጊልጋሜሽ የገድሉ ባለቤት he is the king of the city state of Uruk
የኡሩክ ንጉስ እሺ
ከዛ የሱ እናት ደግሞ ኒንሱን who is a goddess so he's a demigod ከዛ እሺ Enkidu his friend and companion so he can be like the opposite of Gilgamesh Shamhat a prostitute of Uruk
Shamhat ስትለኝ ሸቤት ከባድ ነው ልል ነበር prostitute አልከኝ
አንተ ከባድ ነው አንተ ነው የምትከብደው እንደዛ ማሰብ
you said Shamhat ብለ prostitute አልክ
I'm not making up the እኔ አይደለሁም
historical እንትን እያወራን
እሺ ከዛ Shamash the sun god ከዛ Humbaba the guardian of the forest of cedar Humbaba Shamash ከዛ Ishtar the principal goddess of Uruk Shiduri a minor goddess of wisdom Ur-Shanabi the ferryman of Uttanapishti and Uttanapishti survivor of the flood in capital
አሪፍ ልሳን ታወራለህ
no survivor of the flood in capital Noah's flood half-wit
so Noah
no Gilgamesh some people say is Nimrod ይባላል
really እሺ interesting እሺ these are the casts
yeah
of ታሪኩ
exactly እሺ tablet 1 so this is he who saw the deep the Babylonian Gilgamesh epic or he who saw the deep is really? What is called okay
so it's not tarik is it more of a legend than a tarik
it's more of a legend yeah
okay
I mean goddess ምናምን እየተባለ ሲጠራ did it seem like a historical account
I'm still
those are real those are very real ግን ያ tablet 1 so this is the coming of Enkidu his friend ማለት ነው እሺ በመሃል እያቋረጥኩኝ ትንሽ ኤክስፕሌን አደርጋለሁ ላንጉዌጁ ትንሽ ሊከብድ ይችላል ግን አንድ ላይ እየፈተግነው እናልፋለን
አይዞ ቶሎ ከስር ጥያቄ
ጠይቅ ፕሊዝ እሺ he who saw the deep the country's foundation who knew kaza dash was wise in all matters Gilgamesh, who saw the deep, the country's foundation, who knew, was wise in all matters. He dash everywhere dash. What do you think it said? He dash everywhere dash. This is missing pieces. በኮንቴክስት መምጣት የማይችል ነው።
He dash everywhere dash?
Oh. He saw everything.
So?
He did everything, perhaps?
He did everything?
I don't know. He saw everywhere. He dash everywhere dash. Who knows? And learned of everything the sum of wisdom. He saw what was secret, discovered what was hidden. He brought back a tale of before the deluge. So the deluge is the flood. Okay. He came a far road, was weary, found peace, and set all his labors on a tablet of stone. He built the rampart of Uruk, the sheepfold, of holy Eana, the sacred storehouse. Uruk, the sheepfold. Uruk, the city. Yeah, the sheepfold ማለት በረቶ Uruk በረቷ ማለት ነው. So interesting. The sacred of holy Eana, the sacred storehouse. See its wall like a strand of wool. View its parapet that none could copy. Take the stairway of a bygone era. Draw near to Eana, seat of Ishtar, the goddess, that no later king could ever copy. So, he who saw the deep, this is one of his titles. The country's foundation, this is very interesting. The country's foundation was the deep, ማለት ነው. And now, so he knew many things. He was wise in all matters. Gilgamesh ማለት ነው.
በጣም ጥበበኛ ሰው ነበር.
በጣም ጥበበኛ ነበረ. ብዙ ነገር ተገልጦለታል. ድብቅ ነገሮችን አይቷል ማለት ነው. ነበር, yes. And now, so he traveled many places and he learned of everything the sum of wisdom. ስለዚህ የጥበብንም ድምር አወቀ እንደማለት ነው.
ከሰለሞን በላይ.
ከዛ no, this is for his time. This is just his description. It can be exaggerated, it can be whatever.
Of course.
ከዛ የተደበቁ ነገሮችንም አየ, የተሰወሩንም ነገሮች አገኘ. እና he even brought back a tale of before the flood. So ከኖህ ጎርፍ በፊት የተፈጠሩ የሆነ ታሪኮችን
ይህ ሰውዬ ሄኖክ ነው እንዴ?
ጊልጋሜሽ ነው, ኒምሮድ ነው ይባላል. Because Nimrod was the one who founded a city. Gilgamesh, he founded a city here. Enochma, he was just traveling and he... I will show you later on why he's not Enoch.
Okay.
But you will see it.
So yeah, you know him.
But explain no. ችግር የለም
ብቻ ጊልጋሜሽ ጥበብን በሙሉ የሚያውቅ ሰው ነበር።
ከዛ የጥበብንም ሚስጥሮች በሙሉ አገኘ። Yeah, he's not exactly wise, ግን ብዙ ነገሮችን ተገለጡለት እንደማለት ነው. So it's kind of like how the Greek gods were. ብዙ ነገር ያውቃሉ ግን they were still foolish in all their actions. ገባህ አይደለ? So like necessarily ብዙ ነገር ማወቅ ጥበብ እንዳልሆነ የሚያሳይ አይነት ነገር ነው. So ከዛ ከረጅም መንገድ ተመለሰ. He was weary, he found peace. So Nimrodም travel ያደርግ ነበረ. So whatever. And then he set all his labors on a tablet of stone. And he put a tablet up. ያደረኩትን ሁሉ እኔ እንደዚህ አረኩኝ ብሎ በታብሌት ላይ ቀረጸ ማለት ነው. tablet of stone. Then he built the rampart of Uruk, the sheepfold. ያቺን መጀመሪያ ከተማ መሰረተ ኡሩክ መተባለው
before king ምናምን ከመሆኑ በፊት
exactly. ከዛ of holy Eana, the sacred storehouse. እና በቃ and then ወደ ከተማዋ ዲስክሪፕሽን ይገባል ማለት ነው. The wall like a strand of wool, በቃ ቅጥል ነው በቃ የሆነ it's like ነጭ ነው በቃ and የሆነ የተቆራረጠ ነገር የለውም. It's a smooth wall. And then view its parapet that none could copy. እንትኖች ማለት ነው. The battlements, it's beautiful. Take the stairway of a bygone era, draw near to Eana. So even this story የተመዘገበው is like after Gilgamesh ነው. So this is of a bygone era እያለ ነው የሚያወራው. Because the seat of Ishtar, the goddess that no later king could ever copy. Yeah. Climb Uruk's wall and walk back and forth. Survey its foundations, examine the brickwork. Were its bricks not fired in an oven? Did the 7 sages not lay its foundations? Who are the 7 sages? We do not know. It's very interesting.
ኡሩክን ፋይንድ ያደረገው ጊልጋሜሽ ነው
እሱ ነው ማለት ራምፓርቶቹን የገነባው so a rampart is like it's like a raised እንትን where a city is built or like a castle is built and
ከፍ ያለ ሜዳ ነገር ነው
it's yeah basically good. It's like stack አርገ ከዛ you create your own elevation. That's what ramparts are.
Okay.
So እንደዛ አይነት ከተሞች ነበሩ አይደል በደረጃ ወጥተ ነው ጫፍ ላይ እንትን ያለው ከተማ. So it's like most of the bottom is like a pyramid.
So you said ከፍ አርገው ይሰራሉ እና እንደዛ ይሰራው ጊልጋሜሽ ነበር ያው ሰዎች ነበሩ አይደል
Of course እሱማ ሰዎች
ግን ሄዶ እሱ መስራት ጀመረ ነው ያገኘው ከተማ ውስጥ
No. So he built the foundations for the city.
Okay.
And then እነሱ መተው settle አደረጉ basically. So የድሮ ከተሞች እንደዛ ነበር rampart ምናምን it's like ትልቅ ይሰራና ከተማው at the head of the እንትን it's very interesting. እና እሺ yeah did the seven sages not lay its foundations even though it says that Gilgamesh built the rampart. Okay. So here's a square mile is the city. A square mile, a date grove. A square mile is a clay pit. Half a square mile, the temple of Ishtar. 3 square miles and a half is Uruk's expanse. So, this is really interesting.
ቆዳ ስፋት
እየተናገሩ ነው. So, this is really interesting. አንደኛ ነገር በምን ልኬት እንዳሳየ. So the date grove ማለት ቴምር በጣም በትልቅ እንትን እርሻ ላይ ነው የሚያበቅሉት ማለት ነው if it's a square mile that's a huge expanse of land ቴምር ለመትከል እና a square mile is the clay pit so these are three things that are important to them ልኬቱን የሚያሳዩ ማለት ነው date grove square mile ነው the size ከዛ another square mile is the clay pit ከclay pit ነው እንትናቸውን የሚያወጡት
ያው
ታብሌታቸውን የሚያወጡት ስለዚህ these are two very important things the clay pit and the date grove and then half a square mile is the temple of Ishtar የኢሽታር መቅደስ is like half a square mile it's huge when you think about it
አዎ በጣም
መቅደስ እንደዛ በጣም ትልቅ ከሆነ ማለት ነው ከዛ So the city is a square mile as well, ማለት ነው. So the temple of Ishtar is basically half the size of the city. Technically
ግማሹ
Yeah, ከዛ ግን the and Uruk's expanse is 3 square miles and a half. So that's the entire nation of Uruk is 3 square miles and a half. በዛ ጊዜ ሲቲ ስቴቶች ነው የነበሩት አይደለ? So like ሙሉ ካንትሪ ሁለት ከተሞች ሶስት like ትልቅ የሆነ ሀገር like every country by the way in that time was like አንድ ከተማ ምናምን ያላቸው
በአሁን ጊዜ
like only 1000 years later in Egypt እዚህ ታች ጎሸን አለን እዚህ ላይ ሜምፊስ አለ እዚህ እንትን አለን ምናምን ብለው ዝም ብለው መገንባት የጀመሩት ከተማ because they could ግን yeah so it's usually a city state ማለት ነው so Uruk የምትባል ሀገር ግዛቷ በሙሉ is like the area surrounding the city ማለት ነው So 3.5 square miles የኡሩክ ስፋት አዲስ አበባ ራሷ 203.5 ነው in square miles in square kilometers it's like much more than that like 1000 ምናምን ይገባል in square miles ግን 203.5
so የአዲስ አበባን
I'm not sure yeah የአዲስ አበባ like ኡሩክ is like ኮተቤን ታስታውሳለህ
በቃ ኮተቤን
አረ ኮተቤንም አይደለም like የኡሩክ ከተማ would be like በቃ ከላይ ካንቆርጫ እስከ 32 ማዞሪያ ምናምን ስንት ሺህ ሰው ይኖራል እዛ like የተወሰነ አለ አይደለ that's just how it was እዛ in those times cuz imagine ብዙ ሰው አልነበረም በዚያ ጊዜ like አንድ ከተማ 10000 ሰው ካላት ሁላ በጣም ትልቅ ናት
okay
so yeah so square and a half is Uruk's expanse አይደለም see the tablet box of cedar release its clasp of bronze lift the lid of its secret pick up the tablet of lapis lazuli and read out the travails of Gilgamesh all that he went through so it's like this is a narrator talking about like አንብቡ like የጊልጋሜሽ ታሪክ የተጻፈበትን like አውጡና አንብቡ ምናምን from እና yeah surpassing all other kings heroic in stature brave scion of Uruk, wild bull on the rampage. Going at the fore, he was the vanguard. Going at the rear, one of his comrades could trust. So, this is like, it's making a great case for why Nimrod እንደነበረ ማለት ነው ምክንያቱም ኒምሮድ ምንድነው የተባለው አታስታውስም do you not read the bible
ስለ ኒምሮድ ትዘይ
he was a great hunter ነው የተባለው አይደለ over the earth he was a great hunter he was a great warrior and now so he was surpassing all other kings he was heroic in stature ሲታይ ራሱ ቁመናው መልኩ ምናምን huge ነው ምናምን እና የሚመሰለውም is as a wild bull on the rampage ብቻ ከፊት ሲሄድ is the vanguard በቃ ከፊት the advance force ነው and then career ሲመጣ ደግሞ his rear guardም ሊሆን ይችላል በቃ whichever side he takes he can defend it well
በቃ ከባድ ዋሪየር ነው
ከባድ ዋሪየር ነው he is a mighty bank protecting his warriors a violent flood wave smashing a stone wall wild bull of Lugal Banda Gilgamesh the perfect in strength suckling of the august wild cow the goddess Ninsun ስለዚህ ኒንሱን እናቱ the wild cow ነው የምትባለው ማለት ነው እሱም ቡል ነው እሷ she's the wild cow
የዱር ላም ነው ስሞኝ
yeah it's like a animaloችም ይመስላሉ ማለት ነው Gilgamesh the tall magnificent and terrible who opened passes in the mountains who dug wells on the slope of the uplands and crossed the ocean the wide sea to the sunrise so ወደ ኢስትም ሄዷል ወደ ላይም ተራራ እየከፈለ መተላለፊያ ፈጥሯል
ጀለስ ምንም ማያስቆመው
exactly
ማንደፍ
he's like Maui yeah
so he's like a demigod
he is a demigod እናቱ ኒንሱን the wild cow እየተባለች the goddess
so አይደለም
he's like tile kaza who scoured the world ever searching for life wow and reached through sheer force Utanapishti the distant who restored the cult centers destroyed by the deluge and set in place for the people the rights of the cosmos so Nimrod ብቻውን ነበረ ማለት ነው እና he was looking for people he was looking ብዙ በተራራ ላይ መንገድ እየሰራ ምናምን ወንዝ
ከተማ ከመስራቱ
በፊት exactly these are all his like ታሪክ is ከተማ ላይ ሴትል ከማድረጉ በፊት ብዙ ረጅም መንገድ ሄዷል ማለት ነው ከዝነ ኖህ እንትን ካሉ በኋላ ሰው እየፈለገ ነው this guy ማለት ነው and now he's just looking for people he's just looking for people he's roaming the world looking for people አዛይቺ ኡታናፒሽቲ የምትባለው ሴትዮ she's a survivor of the flood and she restored all the cult centers which is all the old idol worship የሚያረጉበትን ቦታ and set in place for the people the rights of the cosmos so እንትን ኮዝሞስን እንዲያመልኩ መልሳ እንትን አቋቋመች
መልሳ ጣዖት አምልኮን አቋቋመች
yes and so he reached through sheer force እሷ ጋር ማለት ነው the distant የምትባለው who is there that can rival his kingly standing and say like Gilgamesh it is I am the king Gilgamesh was his name from the day he was born 2/3 of him god and 1/3 human
እንደውም ሞር ወደ አምላክነት ይቀርባል ጀለስ
yeah basically
66.6% አምላክ ነው
66.7 round off ብናረግ ደስ ይላል እንዲህ አይነት ከባድ ታይም ላይ እንዲህ አይነት ቁጥር በቀላሉ ባትጠራ ደስ ደግሞ ስለ ፔጋን ጎዶች ያወራል my friend
ስለ ጣዖት እየተወራ
exactly and it was the lady of the gods drew the form of his figure while his build was perfected by divine nudimut a triple cubit was his foot half a rod his leg 6 cubits was his stride kaza dash cubits the front part of his dash I don't know
ግን is he a big
he's humongous triple cubit was his foot half a rod his leg 6 cubits was his stride ማለት ከዚህ ዛኮ ነው ሰውየው እየተራመደ ያለው
cubits ማለት ምንድነው
I don't know whatever it is ግን ብዙ ነው it's probably not 1 2 3 4 5 6 እንደዛ አይደለም I mean we can look up what a cubit እስቲ ለምን ዛሬ ኮምፒውተር አሲስታንት አትሆንም ነበር
ዛሬ አሲስት ባረግ ጥሩ ነበር ግን አልፈለኩም ለሌላ ነገር አይደለም
የራስ ጉዳይ
ስላልፈለኩ እኔ ቁጭ ብዬ መስማት ነው ዛሬ አንተን የፈለኩት
don't worry I can make all this
cubits,
look good in
cubits are እንደውም ትልቅ ይመስለኛል ወይ ፉት ባይ ፉት ነው ወይ 1 ሜትር በ1 ሜትር
1 cubit cubits 2 meters oh wow this is very interesting so a single long cubit is 0.533 is half a meter so
okay
6 cubits is 3 meters
okay
so if you can imagine his stride is 3 meters
እግሩን ሲከፍት 3 ሜትር ከሆነ ጀለስ እንጂ
ሲራመድ ከዚህ እስከዛ ነው የሱ እርምጃ ማለት ነው
አይ ጀለስ በጣም ትልቅ ጃይንት ነው
he's huge
እሺ
እና so yeah triple cubic was his foot ማለት ገና እግሩ ራሱ
እግሩ ብቻ ሜትር ከ50 ነው ማለት ነው
basically so the guy is like almost 3 meters ነው በጣም ረጅም
እንዲያ እግሩ ብቻ ሜትር ከ50 ከሆነ 3 ሜትር በላይ ሊሆን ይችላል
basically it depends አንዳንድ ሰዎች እግራቸው ከቶርሳቸው ሊረዝም ይችላል
3 ሜትር
እንበለው yeah so 6 cubits was a stride ከዛ ምናምን cubits from the front part of his whatever እሱ dash ነው ያለው his cheeks were bearded like those of dash what do you want his cheeks to be bearded like
a lion
like those of a lion the hair of his head grew thickly as barley literally ጸጉሩ እንደ ገብስ ነው
ገብስማ ጸጉሩ
በጣም thick ነው እንደሚበቅለው when he grew tall his beauty was consummate by earthly standards he was most handsome in Uruk the sheepfold he walks back and forth like a wild bull lording it head held aloft ኮራ ብሎ ነው የሚራመደው ጅንን ነው ሰውየው he has no equal when his weapons are brandished his companions are kept on their feet by his contests the young men of Uruk he harries without warrant Gilgamesh lets no son go free to his father by day and by night his tyranny grows harsher Gilgamesh the guide of the teeming people so this is why wise ነበር no ጨካኛ ብቻ ሳይሆን በጣም do you know one of those guys ዝም ብሎ መንገድ ዳር ላይ ምናምን ምንድነው ምናምን በቃ ዝም ብሎ ሲያይ መላፋት የሚፈልግ ነው እና ናስቲ ከኔ ጋር ተጋጠም ናስቲ ከኔ ጋር imagine ማለት ነው this guy is like 3 meters tall ከዛ ሁሌ ባገኘ ቁጥር ናስቲ እንላፋ ትችለኛለህ ግን እኔ ትችለኛለህ ምናምን ይያል እና እሱን እምቢ ብላው ቤት አትገባም ማለት ነው እና
ቡሊ ነበር basically
በጣም ቡሊ እና he's the king imagine እና በቃ he's just looking for somebody to harass
king ሆኖ ማለት ነው ሰውን ወጥቶ harass ያደርግ ነው
ነው እንላፋ እንትን ናስቲ ፋይት ከቻልከኝ ምናምን it will stop being funny soon it is he who is the shepherd of Uruk the sheepfold but Gilgamesh lets no daughter go free to her mother so ሴቶቹንም ደግሞ harass ያደርጋል ቆይ ግን አንቺ እኔን እንትናትኝም መቼ ነው ቻንስ የምትሰጪኝ ምናምን
ንጉስ ሆኖ
አንቺ ግን መቼ ነው ቻንስ የምትሰጪኝ በቃ
ንጉስ ሆኖ የሰፈር ድንጋይ ላይ የሚቀመጠውም ጀለስ ነበር
ማለት and then nobody ደግሞ can say no to
ስቶሪ ሰምቼ አላውቅም ታውቃለህ ንጉስ ሆኖ ንጉስ ነው ገብቷል
imagine he's one of the first he doesn't know how to do it he has no style the guy is like በቃ ገገማ ነው በቃ ሴቶቹንም harass ያደርጋል ወንዶቹንም harass ያደርጋል ወንዶቹን በቃ ካልተደባደብን ፋይት ካላረግን test your strength against me ያለ ይላፋቸዋል ከዛ ሴቶቹን ደግሞ ለምንድነው ግን ፍቅሬን ማትመልሽልኝ ለምንድነው ግን ጥያቄን የፍቅሬን ጥያቄ
ማናግሪኝ
አንቺ ግን አታዝኝም እንደ ለሰው ምናምን እና ሴቶቹን በቃ እጃቸውን እንደዚህ ይዞ you seen those guys አይደለ ኮርነር ላይ ሴት እንደዚህ እጃቸውን ይያዛችሁ ምናምን ቆይ ግን አትጂ መች አናገርሽኝና ቆይ ግን ምናምን ያለ ከዛ ግን this guy is huge ማለት ነው እና they can't say no and then በቃ the women voiced their troubles to the goddess በቃ like ሴት ልጆቻችንን እንትን ይያለብን
እየተላከፈ አስቸግረን
በቃ ቤት እንዲገቡ አልፈቀደላቸውም ካዝ እሺ ካላሉ በቃ ይዞ በቃ እንትን ይላቸዋል he just hold on like ወንዶቹ አንደባደብም ካሉት በቃ ይዟቸው ዛሬማ ሳትደባደበኝ አትሄድም ይላል ከዛ ሴቷ ደግሞ እኔ አልፈልግም አልችልም ምናምን
የመጀመሪያው የሰፈር ጎረምሳ ነው Gilgamesh
yeah በቃ because he's like big in his strength he ማንንም just harass ያደርጋል
ለዛ ነው እንደ ኮርማ የመሰሉት
yeah So the women voiced their troubles to the goddesses. The women prayed to the goddesses. The goddesses, not just to his mother, they prayed to the goddesses and they brought their complaints before them. Though powerful, preeminent, expert, and mighty, Gilgamesh lets no girl go free to her bridegroom. So the warrior's daughter, the young man's bride, to their complaint the goddesses paid heed ማለት ነው. So the ሴቶች አማልክቶቹ ሰሙ ማለት ነው የሴቶቹን ጸሎት. The gods of heaven, the lords of initiative, to the god Anu they spoke. A savage wild bull you have bred in Uruk the sheepfold. He has no equal when his weapons are brandished. His companions are kept on their feet by his contests. The young man of Uruk he harries without warrant. Gilgamesh lets no son go free to his father. By day and by night his tyranny grows harsher. Yet he is the shepherd of Uruk the sheepfold, Gilgamesh the guide of the teeming people. Though he is their shepherd and their protector, powerful, preeminent, expert and mighty, Gilgamesh lets no girl go free to her bridegroom.
So paradox ነው ሰውየው ነው
just imagine ሁሉ ነገር
ንጉሳቸውን ተጠባቂያቸውን
ጥበብ የተገለጠለት ሰው ነው ተባለ ግን ደግሞ he doesn't act in wisdom የህዝቡ ጠባቂ ነው ግን ደግሞ ህዝቡን ቁጭ ብሎ ሐራስ የሚያደርግ ሰውዬ ነው.
That's very interesting. ለዘመኑ ብዙ ሌሰን እንወስዳለን. እሺ
yeah. The warrior's daughter, the young man's bride, to their complaint the god Anu paid heed. So this is very interesting. The stanza which gives Anu's reaction, this is a side note, has been dropped in the late edition of the epic, but by good fortune, so published ያደረጉት እነዚህ ሰዎች እቺኛ ብዙ አትመስጥም ብለው ኤዲተሮቹ ማለት ነው የ4000 5000 years ago ኤዲተሮች ካት አስደርጋቸዋል ፓርቱን እና it got dropped ግን but it is preserved in a short extract from an older version of the text, which was written by a student scribe on an exercise tablet found in the city of Nippur. So it's like and random tamari ቁጭ አርጎ በተወ ደብተር ማለት ነው like ስንት ታሪክ preserve እንደተደረገ ስለዚህ ልጆች ፕሊዝ የትምህርት ቤት ደብተራችሁን ዝም ብላችሁ አትጣሉ. You never know the future ላይ ምን
ለወደፊት history
በተለይ after እኛ ከምናመጣው ሶሳይታል ኮላፕስ በኋላ ብዙ ቀት ያስፈልጋቸዋል ስለዚህ በእናንተ ደብተር አዲሱ ሶሳይቲ ሊፈጠር ሊሆን ይችላል ምን ታውቃላችሁ mankind could depend on what you leave behind ዝም ብላችሁ ትራሽ አታርጉ ኦኬ ልጆች ኦኬ አላችሁኝ thank you እሺ let them summon Aruru the great one. She it was who created them, mankind so numerous. So they're saying Aruru created mankind.
So ግን ሄደው ኮምፕሌን አደረጉ ሰውዬ ያስቸገረን ነው ብለው
exactly እሺ ከዛ አሩሩ ጋር ሄዱ ማለት ነው who is the creator of mankind in their weird mythology. No, it's a woman. It's a female goddess.
እሺ so this is strictly by the way legend እና የድሮ mythology ነው ያወራን ያለ ነው.
believe አርገ ነው አይደለም by the way ከዚህ የምናረገው ነገር
እነዚህ ልጆች በጣት
ማሚ ፕሊዝ እኔ ሰጣውት እንትን ያልኩኝ አይደለም ታሪክ እንትን ያወጣ እሺ let them summon Aruru the great one. She it was created them, mankind so numerous. Let her create the equal of Gilgamesh, one mighty in strength, and let him vie or contest with him, so Uruk may be rested. ስለዚህ እሱን የሱ እኩሌታ የሆነ አንድ ሰውዬ ይፈጠርና መጥቶ ዝም ብሎ ጉልበቱን ያስጨርሰው ይባላል. So the text of tablet 1 resumes. They summoned Aruru the great one. You, Aruru, created mankind. Now fashion what Anu has thought of. So Anu ሐሳብ ሰጣት ከዛ ፍጠሪ ተባለች. Let him be a match for the storm of his heart. Let them vie with each other, so Uruk may be rested. The goddess Aruru heard these words. What Anu had thought of, she fashioned within her. So it's like በማጽኗ ነገር ነው ፎርም ያደረገች እንትን የምታደርገው. The goddess Aruru, she washed her hands, took a pinch of clay, threw it down in the wild. In the wild, she created Enkidu the hero. So it's like it's such a weird context.
ይሁን አሁን ለመጽሐፍ ቅዱስ እንዲሊል ነገር ብሎ ነው የሚታጠፈው
kind of it's like created from without but also from within. So I don't know if she's exactly an earth goddess or ምናምን but በውስጧ ፈጠረች ይላል ከዛ ግን ደግሞ in the wild ጭቃውን she threw it down. In the wild she created Enkidu the hero, offspring of silence.
ያችሁ የድሮ ሚቶሎጂዎች ለራሱ ከእግዚአብሔር ነው የሚቀርቡት ኮፒ ነው እሺ ግን
the hero, offspring of silence. so የጸጥታ ልጅ ነበረ not የጸጥታ
ኪዱ የሚባል ነው የፈጠረችው
Enkidu የሚባል the hero ማለት so offspring is not it's not like it's like በቃ ከዝምታ የተወለደ ማለት ነው rather than ዝም ያለ ልጅ ከማለት ይልቅ ከዝምታ የተወለደ made stronger by Ninurta. I don't know who Ninurta is. All his body is matted with hair. ጸጉራማ ነው he bears long tresses like those of a woman. Wow, okay. The hair of his head grows thickly as barley. He knows not a people nor even a country. Coated in hair like the god of the animals, with the gazelles he grazes on grass. ሳር እየበላ በቃ ከሚዳቆች ጋር ነው የሚኖረው ሰው አያውቅማ
ሳር እየበላ ነው የሚኖረው
joining the throng with the game at the water hole ከዛ ሄዶ ውሃ ይጠጣል his heart delighting with the beasts in the water በቃ ውሃ ውስጥ
እየተጫወተ እንደ አኒማሎች ነው የሚኖረው
he's even worse than in Tarzan or in George of the Jungle cuz አንድም ሰው አግኝቶ አያውቅም like literally he was just created in the wild. A hunter, a trapper man did come upon him by the water hole. So አንድ ቀን አዳኝ ያገኘዋል. One day a second and then a third he came upon him by the water hole. So ደጋግሞ ተመላልሶ ሲመጣ he keeps seeing him. When the hunter saw him his expression froze. But he with his herds he went back to his lair. So አዳኙ ሲያየው ደነገጠ. ከዛ ግን የኛው ምንም አልመሰለው ሄደ. The hunter was troubled, subdued and silent. His mood was despondent, his features gloomy. In his heart there was sorrow. His face resembled one come from afar. ስለዚህ የሰው ልጅ እንደዚህ እንደ እንስሳ ቁጭ ብሎ እንትን ሲል
ግራ ገብቶ
የሰው ልጅ outside of his nature ሆኖ ሲያይ እንዴት ዲፕሬሲንግ እና አሳዛኝ እንደሆነ ልታስቡ ትችላላችሁ food for thought ፕሊዝ አስቡበት
የሐሳብ ምግብ
ፕሊዝ በተለይ አንዳንድ ዲጀነሬቶች አሉ ከኔቸራችሁ ለመውጣት አትሞክሩ
ደንግጦ አይቶት
በጣም ዲፕሬስድ ሆነ ካየው በኋላ
ኤንኪዱን ፈጥረውት ጊልጋሜሽን ባላንስ እንዲያደርገው ዝም ብሎ in the wild ግን ለቀቁት ነገር ነው እንደሚያውቀው ሳር እየጋጠ ምናምን ኖረ ሰዛን ሰውየው አገኘውና ደነገጠ ነው
basically ሲያየው እንዴት አዘነ በጣም የሰው ልጅ እንደዚህ ሆኖ ሲያይ the hunter opened his mouth to speak saying to his father my father there was a man I came by the water hole mightiest in the land strength he possesses his strength is as mighty as a rock from the sky so like we said he is a match for Gilgamesh አይደለ ሲፈጠር so ሳይዙ ትልቅ ነው ግን በዛ ሳይዙ እንደ ሳር እየጋጠ ውሃየ
oh my god he's bigfoot hairy no he's big ከአኒማሎች ጋር ነው
he has long hair like a woman
still bigfoot anyway እሺ
ከበገፈትከው ደግሞ አንተ ደስ ይበል
ከበገፍ
over the hills he roams all day always with the herds he grazes on the grass always his tracks are found by the water hole I am afraid and I dare not approach him he fills in the pits that I myself dig he pulls up the snares that I lay he sets free from my grasp all the beasts of the field he stops me doing the work of the wild so this is very interesting ከዱር እንስሳት ጋር ቢኖርም ይሄ እንኪዱ ማለት ነው አክሽኖቹ የሰው ልጅ ነው ከዛ አዳኙ መጥቶ ወጥመድ ይጥላል ምናምን ገደል ላይ ይቆፍራል አኒማሎች እንዲሆን ከዛ ይሄኛው መጥቶ ገደሉን ይሞላበታል ትራፖቹን ያነሳበታል ከዛ የተያዙትንም እንስሳች ፍሪ ያደርግበታል እና በጣም አስጨነቀኝ ይሄ ሰውዬ more than seeing him እንደዚህ አይነት ስቴት ውስጥ እኔንም ደግሞ ፍራስትሬት እያደረገኝ ነው ከአደኔ as his father opened his mouth to speak saying to the hunter my son in the city of Uruk go seek out Gilgamesh as magnificent is his presence this is በራሴ ጨመርኳት ናት magnificent ግንዳሽ ናት his strength is as mighty as a rock from the sky very like meteoric ነው their strength ማለት ነው ሁለቱም take the road set your face towards Uruk Do not rely on the strength of man. Go, my son, and fetch Shamhat the harlot. Her allure is a match for even the mighty. Very interesting. When the herd comes down to the water hole, she should strip off her raiment. Raiment means clothes, to reveal her charms. He will see her and will approach her. His herd will spurn him, though he grew up amongst it. So እሷ ሄዳ ታማለው ከዛ እሱም ከነሱ ተለይቶ ይወጣል ማለት ነው።
ከዛን አንተ ቴሮራይዝ ማድረግ actually ምንም አላደረገውም ማለት እየኖረ ነው። ግን ያው በሴት አጥምደው ነው ነገር
ማለት እነሱ ማደን አለባቸው። is frustrating him in the hunt. So በቃ በዚህ አንተ አማለህ አውጣው እያለ ነው። As a paying heed to the advice of his father, the hunter went off, set out on the journey. He took the road, set his face toward Uruk. Before the Gilgamesh the king, he spoke these words. There was a man came by the water hole, mightiest in the land. Strength he possesses. His strength is as mighty as a rock from the sky. Over the hills he roams all day. Always with the herd he grazes on grass. Always his tracks are found by the water hole. I am afraid and I dare not approach him. He fills in the pits that I myself dig. He pulls up the snares that I lay. He sets free from my grasp all the beasts of the field. He stops me doing the work of the wild. So ለአባቱ የተናገረውን በሙሉ
ለጊልጋሜሽ ነገረው።
So said Gilgamesh to him, to the hunter, go hunter, take with you Shamhat the harlot. When the herd comes, by the way, harlot means prostitute, no, in older English. When the herd comes down to the water hole, she should strip off her raiment to reveal her charms. So Gilgamesh is saying word for word what his father said. He will see her and will approach her. His herd will spurn him, though he grew up amongst it. Off went the hunter, taking Shamhat the harlot. They set out on the road. They started the journey. On the third day, they came to their destination. Hunter and harlot sat down there to wait. Wow, what an interesting... Exactly. One day and a second, they waited by the water hole. Then the herd came down to drink the water. The game arrived, their hearts delighting in water. The game is basically... ታዳኞቹ or ሚዳቆቹ. And Enkidu, also born in the uplands. With the gazelles he grazed on grasses, joining the throng with the game at the water hole. His heart delighting with the beasts in the water. Then Shamhat saw him, the child of nature, the savage man from the midst of the wild. This is he, Shamhat. Uncradle your bosom. Let him take in your charms. Do not recoil, but take in his scent. He will see you and will approach you.
So
basically, spread your clothing so that he may lie on you. Do for the man the work of a woman. Let his passion caress and embrace you. His herd will spurn him, though he grew up amongst it. Over the hills he roams all day. Always with the herd he grazes on grasses. Always his tracks are found by the water hole. I am afraid and I dare not approach him. So this is like a signature of a lot of epics, a lot of poems is የሆነች አንከሪንግ ፒስ ትኖራለች። አሁን ለምሳሌ መጀመሪያ ላይ it's like no daughter of warrior, no child of ምናምን could go home to their mother ምናምን እያለ ተመላልሶ like ህዝቡን መልሶ የሚያመጣቸው አይነት ነገር ያስፈልጋል። ምክንያቱም ዝም ብለህ እያነበብክ ከሄድክ ሰው ኢንትረስት ሊያጣ ይችላል። So if it's being performed as a song or a poem, recite ስትደረግ ሚውዚካል በሆነ እንትን ከዛ ልክ when you come back to the anchoring part, everybody can sing along.
In the chorus ይመለሱ.
In the chorus, exactly. It's just like a chorus. So እኔ ልክ over the hills ሲል everybody underlie, he roams all day, always in the herd, he grazes on grasses, always his tracks are found by the water hole, la 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 da da ያለ ሊመለስ ይችላል። He fills in the pits that I myself dig. He pulls up the snares that I lay. He sets free from my grasp all the beasts of the wild. He stops me doing the work of the wild. My father opened his mouth to speak, saying to the hunter, my son in the city of Uruk, go seek out Gilgamesh. La 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 la. Kaza yilwal. And then everything I said before.
So he didn't ask me to yalas no basically. ይዛት ሄደ እሱም ሲግጥ አገኘው እንደለመደው ከሚዳቆሽ ጋር እሺ. And then what happened?
So he repeats everything. Wow. So my father said this ብሎ ደግሞ exactly ደግሞ line for line ነው ተመልሰው እንትን የሚሉት በጣም አስቸጋሪዎች ናቸው exactly line for line ነው የሚያወራው and then ያንን ሁሉ ነገራት and then Shamhat unfastened the cloth of her loins wow
straight to the business
exactly his passion caressed and embraced her for 6 days and 7 nights oh ምን አይነት ትራቭል ውስጥ እንደገባ
basically what happened next እዚህ ጋር ከታርገን ትገባ so basically what happened next is ሴትዮዋን ይዞ አስምጩ ብሏት ነበር አሰመጨችው እናም በመጽሐፍ ቅዱሳዊና በጫው ቃል ታወቁ ግን የታወቁ ለ6 ቀንና ለ7 ለሊቶች ነው ማለት ነው
so he was vigorous when with her delights he was fully sated ከተገበ በኋላ he turned his gaze to his herd the gazelles saw Enkidu they started to run the beasts of the field shied away from his presence Enkidu had defiled his body so pure his legs stood still though his herd was in motion Enkidu was weakened and he could not run as before but now he had reason and wide understanding
so what's basically saying is ሴት ልጅን ካወቀ በኋላ to put it nicely ምንድነው እንደ ድሮ የነበረው ስትሪንግዝ አልነበረውም ግን አንደርስታንዲንግ እና ዊዝደም አገኘ ነው የሚለው
basically now he had reason it's like ድሮ እንደ እንስሳ ነበር የሚኖረው but after
አነቃችሁ
basically after that experience with Shamhat በቃ አይኑ ተገለጠ አይነት ነገር it was like an eureka moment for him you know
ማንም ይገለጣል እኮ ከዛ
ባልሆነ basically it was a turning point for him እንስሳ እንዳልሆነ ገባው
that's interesting
yeah and you know after 7 days he won't have any strength to run after the gazelle and he came back and he sat at the feet of the harlot watching the harlot observing her features then to the harlot's words he listened intently as Shamhat talked to him to Enkidu
በቃ ፎንቃ ገባለት ነው
exactly እነሱ ከሄዱ በኋላ በቃ ቁጭ ብሎ እግሯ ስር ያያት ነበር you are handsome Enkidu you are just like the god you are just like a god why with the beasts do you wander the wild come I will take you to Uruk the sheepfold to the sacred temple to the sacred temple home of Anu and Ishtar where Gilgamesh is perfect in strength like a wild bull lording it over the menfolk so she spoke to him and her word found favor he knew by instinct he should seek a friend so በኢንስቲንክት እንትን አለ ማለት ነው
ከዛ በኋላ እና ወደ ከተማ እንሂድና ወደ ግልጋሜሽም ልውሰድ አለችው ለምን እንደ እንስሳ ትኖራለህ
exactly because you are basically like a god come let me show you another one who is just like you ማለት ነው ምክንያቱም I think መሰልህን ትፈልጋለህ in all things አይደል I think usually በተለይ if you look at people like uncontested የሆኑ ሰዎች በጣም depressed ይሆናሉ a lot of times
አይደል
yeah so like it's not just about finding a partner in life most of the time you know like yes finding a partner finding a spouse manaman is like one of the most important things but I think finding a friend whether that be in the form of your partner for life like your spouse your balabet whether በዛ መልክ ቢሆን that friend that equal የምታገኘው or in a friend like በቃ a like minded person ሁሉም ሰው ያስፈልጋቸዋል ምክንያቱም ኮንቴስት የሚያደርግ እንትን ያልክ በቃ የሚፈትነው አይነት ሰው ያስፈልጋል ለማደግም እንትን ለማለትም ማለት ነው and then said Enkidu to her ማለት ነው even though he lived like as an animal ማውራት ይችል ነበር ማለት ነው he said to her to the harlot come Shamhat take me along to the sacred temple holy home of Anu and Ishtar where Gilgamesh is perfect in strength like a wild bull lording it over the menfolk I will challenge him for my strength is mighty I will vaunt myself in Uruk saying I am the mightiest there I shall change the way things are ordered one born in the wild is mighty strength he possesses wow
so ሄጄ ግልጋሜሽን ይዋጣልና የሆነ ከሱ ነፃ አውጣቸዋለሁ አይነት ነገር
ከሱ ነፃ አውጣቸዋለሁ እኔ I shall change how things are እና በቃ በዱር ውስጥ በቃ ዘላን ሆኖ የተወለደ is more powerful than him ማለት ነው and then Shamhat says Let the people see your face. Go Enkidu to Uruk the sheepfold, where young men are girt with waistbands. So style no waistband ይለብሳል. Every day in Uruk there is a festival. The drums there rap out the beat, and there are harlots, most comely of figure, graced with charms and full of delight. So it's like በዛን ጊዜ የተለመደ ነበረ ማለት ነው።
ስላለባበሳቸው
no prostitution በጣም accepted ነበረ. There are beautiful harlots እያለችው
well, it is the oldest profession.
It's not the oldest profession, but it was still there back then. Even the aged, they rouse from their beds. Wow. ሽማግሌዎቹም ይነሳሉ። O Enkidu, as yet so ignorant of life, I will show you Gilgamesh, a man happy and carefree. Look at him, regard his features. He is fair in manhood, dignified in bearing, graced with charm in his whole person. He has a strength more mighty than yours. Unsleeping he is by day and by night. O Enkidu, cast aside your sinful thoughts. Gilgamesh it is whom divine Shamash loves. So Shamash ምትባል አምላክ አለች እና እሷ ናት የምትወደው።
ግን ያው እንትን እያለችው ነው he's better than you እያለችው ነው basically.
It's almost blasphemy እኔ ከጊልጋሜሽ በላይ ነኝ ማለትህ እያለችው ነው። The gods Anu, Enlil and Ea have broadened his wisdom. Before you even came from the uplands, Gilgamesh in Uruk was seeing you in dreams. Gilgamesh rose to relate a dream, saying to his mother, "Oh mother, this is the dream I had in the night. The stars of the heavens appeared above me. Like a rock from the sky, one fell down before me. I lifted it up, but it weighed too much for me. I tried to roll it, but I could not dislodge it." So Enkidu describe ያደረገ ነው። The land of Uruk was standing around it. The land was gathered about it. A crowd was milling about before it. The menfolk were thronging around it. Like a babe in arms, they were kissing its feet. I lifted it up, set it down at your feet, and you, mother, O mother, you made it my equal. So basically this rock መጣ በመሐከላችን, and then all the people in the land ተሰብስበው አዩትና ተደነቁበት ወደዱት ምናምን። እኔም ደግሞ ይሄንን ነገር when I saw it በቃ ተቀበልኩት በፍቅር ምናምን and I presented it to you, and you my mother the goddess ማለት ነው you made it my equal እያላት ነው።
So Enkidu ስለ ጊልጋሜሽ እያወራ ነው።
No, this is Shamhat telling Enkidu that Gilgamesh had a dream about you ገና ሳትፈጠር በፊት እያለች እየሰከሰችው ነው by the way, because he was created to Gilgameshin contest እንዲያደርገው ነው የተፈጠረው።
So ጥሩ ነው እንደው ሄዶ እንትን እንዲለው ያነሳሳችሁ ነው እንዲቀናቀኑ
exactly ያመጣችሁ ነው but yeah, so anta gana satfattar before he came from the uplands, he had already dreamt you up. So she's saying that Gilgamesh wanted you እንድትመጣ አይነት ነገር ግን actually everybody else wanted him to come and create trouble for Gilgamesh so that they can live at peace.
Of course.
Yeah. The mother of Gilgamesh was clever and wise, well versed in everything. She said to her son, while Nkau, Ninsun, was clever and wise, well versed in everything, she said to Gilgamesh. So he did come on. The stars of heaven appeared above you. Like a rock from the sky, one fell down before you. A mighty comrade will come to you and be his friend savior.
So ጓደኛ ይሆናል እያለችው
ነው በቃ መልካም ወዳጅ ይሆናል በጣም የምትወደው ወዳጅ ይሆናል እያለችው ነው። Having had a second dream, he rose and entered before the goddess his mother. Said Gilgamesh to his mother, "Once more, O mother, have I had a dream. In a street of Uruk, the town square, an axe was lying with a crowd gathered around it. The land of Uruk was standing around it, a crown tree was gathered about it. A crowd was milling about it before it." And he says everything, and she says, "My son, the axe you saw is a friend. You will love him, caress him, and embrace him, and I, Ninsun, shall make him your equal."
So Gilgamesh ህልም እያየ ነው ማለት ነው ስለ Enkidu.
This is Shamhat telling Enkidu. Gilgamesh በህልም አየየ. This is still ገና የሰከሰችው ነው። So a mighty comrade will come to you and be his friend savior. Mightiest in the land, strength he possesses. His strength is as mighty as a rock from the sky. Said Gilgamesh to his mother, "Oh, may it befall me, O mother, by counselor Enlil's command, let me acquire a friend to counsel me, a friend to counsel me I will acquire." So did Gilgamesh see his dreams. After Shamhat had told Enkidu the dreams of Gilgamesh. The two of them together began making love. Very good.
Okay. So basically ምንድነው ለኤንኪዱ እንትን ማኒፑሌቲቭም ቢሆን ስቶሪ የነገረችው ነው ቴድና ምናም ግን ጓደኛ ትሆናላችሁም ስላንተ ድሪም ኦሬዲ አይቷልም ብላ እያዘጋጀችው
exactly
so ኮንቴክስት ላይ አድርገው ነው የሚሄደው
yeah so she was like መጀመሪያ ላይ ምንድነው ያለው ስለ ጊልጋሜሽ ስትነግሩ እኔ ሄድና and then አንስቼ ጥለዋለሁ I'm going to ምናምን but that which is what he was created to do that's how the gods created him አይደለ is to contend with Gilgamesh ግን እሷ ምንድነው የምትለው ሄደው ወዳጅ እንድትሆነው አማካሪ እንድትሆነው ነው መስፈልገው ብላ እየነገረችው ነው ማለት ነው she doesn't know the plans of the gods Gilgamesh ማያውቅም ግን በቃ እንደዚህ ብላ ነገረችው just to convince him to go away from the herd because that's what the hunter is paying her to do so we come to the second tablet the turning of Enkidu she takes him to a shepherd's camp where he is instructed in the ways of men and he becomes the shepherd's watchman እረኞች ካምፕ አላቸው እዛ ሄዶ እንትን ማሪ ይጀምራል
ይላመዳል ነው መጀመሪያ
and then passing shepherd ይመጣና he tells him about Gilgamesh ድጋሚ የሚቀሰቅሰው ማለት ነው እሺ while the two of them together were making love he forgot the world where he was born the harlot opened her mouth saying to Enkidu as I look at you Enkidu you are like a god why with the beasts do you wander the wild come to Uruk I will lead you to Uruk the town square to the sacred temple the home of Anu to the temple of Iana the home of Anu and she where men are engaged in labors of skill you too like a man will find a place for yourself her words he heard her speech found favor the counsel of a woman struck home in his heart she stripped and clothed him in part of her garment so it was an ልብሷ ቀዳ አለበሰችው ማለት ነው ከራቁቱ ነበር
ሴት ይላከው አይ እንደም አለበሰችው ግን ኢንስፓየር ማድረግ
the other part she put on herself by the hand she took him like a god she led him wow this is very interesting such an interesting statement like a god she led him to the shepherd's camp the site of the sheep pen the band of shepherds was gathered around him talking about him among themselves this fellow how like in build he is to Gilgamesh indeed Gilgamesh ይመሳሰላል tall in stature proud as a battlement for sure it's Enkidu born in the uplands his strength is as mighty as a rock from the sky bread they set before him ale they set before him Enkidu ate not the bread but looked askance gragabo dabu ሲያስቀምጡለት how to eat bread Enkidu knew not how to drink ale he had never been shown and then Shamhat opened her mouth saying to Enkidu eat the bread Enkidu essential to life drink the ale the lot of the land Enkidu ate the bread until he was sated he drank the ale a full 7 goblets his mood became free he started to sing his heart grew merry his face lit up the barber groomed his body so hairy anointed with oil he turned into a man he put on a garment became like a warrior he took up his weapon to do battle with lions
wow so in basically the አከተሙት ነው በከተማ ወስደው
ገና shepherds camp ላይ ነው
okay
so the shepherds have a camp where they keep their sheep አይደለ
ግን ጻጉሩን ቆረጡት
ምናምን ተሳለበሱ
አንበሳ ሊዋጋ ወጣ ነው ከዛ
በቃ weapon አነሳ and then አንበሳ ሲመጣ ያሳድዳል when at night the shepherds lay sleeping he struck down wolves he chased off lions sleeping lay the senior shepherds their shepherd boy Enkidu a man wide awake a certain fellow had been invited to a wedding to Uruk the sheepfold he was going for the banquet so this is the man መጥቶ Enkidu ወደ Gilgamesh ድጋሚ የሚቀሰቅሰው Enkidu was having his special time with Shamhat once more he lifted his eyes caught sight of the man and thus he spoke to the harlot Shamhat bring the man over why he came here let me learn his reason then Shamhat hailed the man greet አረገችው and she went up to him and she spoke to him where do you hurry to fellow where is your journey so toilsome what is your journey so toilsome the fellow opened his mouth saying to Enkidu I was invited to a wedding banquet it is the lot of the people to contract a marriage ስለዚህ ሰርግ ሲደገስ ህዝቡ ተሰብስቦ ሄዶ not just ድግሱን ለመካፈል ብቻ ሳይሆን ሴሬሞኒውንም ዊትነስ ለማድረግ it becomes a contract ማለት ነው to contract the wedding so everybody is witness to their wedding
ማለት አልገባም
ማለት
wedding የሚጠራ ሰው በዛ ጊዜ contract ፈርሞ ነው የሚጠራው
no it's you are the contract of their wedding ባልና ሚስት የሚፈራረመው አሁን ወረቀት ነው አይደለ or እንትን ማዘጋጃ ቤት ሄደህ ትፈራረማለህ you don't have to go to church ግን በቃ ሰው ተሰብስቦ ስትጋባ ስላየ people will hold you accountable for your marriage
oh so antan maayate
they are your contract yeah
it makes sense
it is the lot of the people to contract a marriage I shall load the ceremonial table with tempting foods for the wedding feast for the king of Uruk the town square the veil will be parted for the one who picks first for Gilgamesh the king of Uruk the town square so first tablet ላይ ኡሩክ the sheepfold ነበር የምትባለው ማለት ነው የበጎቹ በረት አሁን ደግሞ ኡሩክ አደባባይቷ እየተባለች ነው
ግን ያው ትልቅ ዌዲንግ አለ ጊልጋሜሽም ሊጠራ ነው
ያ not just that የድግሱን መጀመሪያ ምርጫ የሚወስደው ምግቡን በሙሉ ጊልጋሜሽ ነው ባልና ሚስት አንተ
ከባልና ሚስት ቀድሞ የሚወስደው
ሚዜ ሆነ ስላየው አንተ ሁሌ መጀመሪያ ሄደት
እኔ ንጉስ ሆኜ ነው ያየሁት ገብቷል
ጊልጋሜሽ actually ስታስበው technically if you invited the prime minister to your wedding
prime minister no
if you invited someone important to your wedding you'd probably have that person ማንሳት ከዛ no አይሆንም ከናንተ በፊት ከዛ 10 ደቂቃ ፈርስታችሁ ለምናችሁ ታስነሱታላችሁ
probably yeah
ግን ጊልጋሜሽ መጥቶ መርጦ ነው የሚያነሳው
አይሰማም ማንንም አይሰማም
but that was the lot of kings that was the way of kings the veil will be parted for the one who picks first he whoa
ምትዘለው ፓርት ነው
let me read this to you and you can tell me he will couple with the wife to be he first of all the bridegroom after
so
on their wedding night Gilgamesh no መቶ
ሚቀድሞ even ባልየውን ሚቀድሞ
ከባሉ በፊት Gilgamesh no መቶ ሚስቱን
that's so interesting አንተ ከባድ
this is the kind of አመፀኛ ሰው Gilgamesh was ማለት
የጊልጋሜሽ እንትን ስለሆነ ነው ወይስ ባህላቸው እንደዛ ነው
no እሱ ነው እንደዛ የነበረው cuz he founded the city በቃ that's ኢየሱስ ራ እንደዚህ ነው I told you he's a harasser man
ሰው ሁሉ ሲያገባ ሚስታቸው መጀመሪያ እሱ ነው
ኤው ምግባችሁን መጀመሪያ እኔ ነኝ የምቀምሰው ሚስታችሁንም እኔ ነኝ መጀመሪያ የምተዋወቀው ብሎ dude this guy is a pig by all measures and now so this is why Enoch አልነበረም ስለነበረ
definitely Enoch አይደለም
yeah and now he first of all the bridegroom after by divine consent it is so ordained when his navel cord was cut for him she was destined so basically what their culture is saying at this time is እሱ የሱ በቃ literally እትብቱ ሲቆረጥ all the women were just ለሱ ተለይተዋል ይያሉ ነው
so ሁሉም ሴት ለኔ ነው ብሎ ነው
all women he has first right to everything that's በቃ የጊልጋሜሽ this is his divine mandate
ይሄ አንዳንድ ሰዎች አስተሳሰብ ነው አሁንም አንወሻሽ
brother I mean there are people like this again my god this guy was a problem and you can see why even the gods were like okay so ያበዛው ብለው እንትን ማለታቸው at the fellow's words his face paled in anger እንኪዱ በጣም ተበሳጨ ማለት ነው when he heard what Gilgamesh እንደዚህ ያረጋል ብሎ ሲሰማ በጣም ተበሳጨ and off he goes Enkidu Shamhat እየተከተለችው he entered the city of Uruk the town square and a crowd gathered around he came to a halt in the street of Uruk the town square all gathered about the people discussed him in build he is the image of Gilgamesh but shorter in stature and bigger of bone so he's a bit shorter than Gilgamesh more watamsha ነው for sure it is the one who was born in the uplands the milk of the beasts is what he was suckled on so በቃ
ከዱር
እንስሳት ጋር ያደገው in Uruk they held regular festivals of sacrifice young men made merry set up a champion for the fellow whose features were fair for Gilgamesh who like a god was set up a rival so festival ላይ በቃ እንደዚህ ሁሌ contest ማድረግ ምናምን መታገል the strong like to show የተለመደ ነገር ነው like in all like festivals በቃ people like to show off do things ምናምን like women have beauty contests and singing and ምናምን and they show off crafts and all these things. These are like ድሮም የነበረ ነገር ነው. And then ወንዶቹ ደግሞ ሬስል ማድረግ or archery contest or በሬ መጣል it doesn't matter. ሁሌ የሆነ አይነት ኮንቴስት ያደርጋሉ. ከዛ ግን in ኡሩክ በቃ ከጊልጋሜሽ ጋር ማን ነው መጥቶ የሚታገለው? በቃ that's the festival ላይ የሚያደርጉት. For the goddess of weddings, the bed was laid out. Gilgamesh met with the maiden by night. So የልጅቷ like የማሪጅ አልጋዋ ከተዘረጋ በኋላ ጊልጋሜሽ መጣ ማለት ነው በማታ. And then forward came Enkidu and he stood in the street blocking the path of Gilgamesh. ጌታ ይባርከው
አቆመው እሺ
yeah nice. The land of Uruk was standing around him, the land was gathered about him, a crowd was milling about before him, the men folk were thronging around him. For the goddess of weddings was ready the bed, for Gilgamesh, like a god, was set up a substitute. Enkidu, with his foot, blocked the door of the wedding house, not allowing Gilgamesh to enter. They seized each other at the door of the wedding house. In the street, they joined combat in the square of the land. እገባለሁ አትገባም
አንተ ስንተኛ ሴት ነው ይበቃ
ምን አይነት ነውረኛ ነህ ግን አንተ እኔ ራሴ ከዱር መጥቻ I know what you're doing is disgusting እያሉ and then አትገባም እገባለሁ and then መደባደብ ጀመሩ ማለት ነው. The door jambs shook. So ይሄ የፍሬሙ የበሩ ፍሬም መንቀጥቀጥ ጀመረ. The walls did shudder. In the street, Gilgamesh and Enkidu joined in combat in the square of the land. The door jambs shook, the walls did shudder.
ከመሬት የሚያንቀጠቅጥ አይነት ድብድብ እየተደበደበ
በጣም በቃ እየተቀጣቀጡ ቤት ላይ ያፈርሱ ነበር. ከዛ Gilgamesh knelt 1 foot off the ground. His anger subsided. He broke off from the fight. After he broke off from the fight, said Enkidu to him, to Gilgamesh, as one unique, your mother bore you. The wild cow of the fold, the goddess Ninsun, high over warriors, you are exalted. To be king of the people, Enlil made it your destiny. Why do you desire to do this thing? Out of anything you could do, why do you want this so much? Let me, and then dash, a feat that never was done in the land. It's like,
so ከተደባደቡ በኋላ ትንሽ ብሬክ
አረገ Gilgamesh ተረጋጋ ምናምን. So there are missing parts in here in what he says. And then ሲረጋጋ he's like እንደዚህ እናቴ ዩኒክ አርጋ ወለደች. You were exalted to be a king over these people. እንደዚህ ለማድረግ ተደረገ. ለምንድነው እንደዚህ ማድረግ የምትፈልገው? ለምንድነው like በሰው ሰርጎች ማታ መጥቼ እንዲያረጋለው የምትለው? Why is it that out of all the things you can do, imagine you are a king, you can do anything else in this world. You can do anything else in this world. ለምን እንደዚህ ነውረኛ ትሆናለህ? ለምን አጉረዘለል ትሆናለህ? Literally ስታስበው ግን Gilgamesh አጉረዘለል ነበር because he traveled before he came to the land. And why are you trying to do like something that has never been done before in this land? ከዛ ግን ተረጋጋ and then በቃ ተቃቀፉና they formed a friendship. So it says they kissed and they formed a friendship. በቃ ሳሞ አቀፈውና they formed a friendship. ተረጋጋ ብሎ and then በጥበብ ማረከው ማለት ነው. Enkidu the wild man በእንደዚህ የማረከው. The mightiest in the land, strength he possesses. His strength is as mighty as a rock from the sky. He is tall in stature, proud as a battlement. The mother of Gilgamesh opened her mouth to speak, saying to her son, Wild cow Ninsun opened her mouth to speak, saying to Gilgamesh, My son, in his gate, dash, ተዋረደ ማለት በራሱ ቅጥር ተዋረደ. Bitterly, you have humiliated him. So these are dashoች በራሴ እየሞላዋቸው ነው. Don't sue me. My son, in his gate, dash, was humiliated. Bitterly, you have humiliated him. You hold him አምዘ ይዘዋል or something.
ለኢንኪዱ
አስጨንቀህ ይዘዋል. Yes. And now she's saying this to him. Kaza you hold ምናምን kaza you have embarrassed him in his gate. Bitterly he has been something. Dash. Kaza and she says Enkidu possesses no kith or kin. Zamad wadaj yellow me Enkidu. Shaggy hair hanging loose. He was born in the wilds and has no brother. ብላ መታ ተናገረች ማለት ነው ኒንሱን የጊልጋሜሽ እናት and then standing there Enkidu heard what she said and thinking it over he sat down weeping his eyes brimmed with tears his arms fell limp his strength ebbed away kaza again they took hold of each other and they linked their hands like brothers and Gilgamesh to Enkidu he spoke a word saying why my friend did your eyes brim with tears your arms fall limp your strength ebbs away ማለት እንደዚህ እየቀነሰ ፌድ እያደረገ መጣ ማለት ነው and then said Enkidu to him to Gilgamesh my friend my heart is aggrieved through sobbing my legs do tremble terror has entered my heart Gilgamesh opened his mouth saying to Enkidu Kaza come let us go against ferocious Humbaba let us slay him so his power is no more wow suddenly he's like okay endom lamatsnanat na let's go and kill this guy it's so interesting
Humbaba man no
Humbaba is like the guardian of the forest of Sidar he's a god but he's a fierce guardian ማለት ነው
so sound ስትገል ትጽናናለ ነው or mighty የሆነ ነገር
let's do something to regain your spirit to regain your confidence yeah so now let's go and slay him so that his power is no more in the forest of Sidar where Humbaba dwells let us frighten him in his lair so it's so interesting how አንዳንዴ እንደዚህ አይነት old ፒሶች ድንገት skip የሚያደርጉበት ነገር አለ and it's like sometimes it's like contextually missing የሆነ ነገር ግን other times ደግሞ truly የሆነ ነገር ከጭንቅላታቸው missing እንደሆነ ታውቃለ I think we have a lot of የሆነ develop ያደረግነው ከዚህ ደርሰን ከዛ ኦኬ እንዲ ለማድረግ we've theorized everything so ከፖይንት A ፖይንት B የምንደርስበት ረጅም ላይናችን አለን ማለት ከዛ ግን እነሱ ከፖይንት A ፖይንት C የሚደርሱበት ማለት ነው ቢን በሙሉ ስኪፕ አድርገው ግን
C ሶሉሽን ነገር እናርግ ነው
እያለቀስክ ነው now let's go and kill that god in the forest ይሏል ከዛ and then he says to him let us frighten him in his lair so በቤቱ ሄደን እናስፈራረው ሄደን እንግደለው ይለዋል
እውነትም የሰፈር ጎረምሳ ምክር ነው ታውቃለህ
yeah it's so random
so ሄደን እናስጨንቅና
and then Enkidu opened his mouth saying to አንተ እንዴት አንጀት የሚበላ ሰው ነው በእናቱ
ምስኪን ሰው ነው
gonna listen to what he says now he says to Gilgamesh I knew him he was my friend in the uplands when I roamed here and there with the herd for 60 leagues the forest is a wilderness who is there who would venture inside it Humbaba his voice is the deluge or his voice is the flood his speech is fire and his breath is death why do you desire to do this thing an unwinnable battle is Humbaba's ambush Gilgamesh opened his mouth saying to Enkidu I will climb my friend the forest slopes and then Enkidu opened his mouth to speak saying to Gilgamesh my friend how can we go to the home of Humbaba so to keep safe the cedars Enlil made it his lot to terrify men Humbaba እዛ የሄደው it's like ሲዳሮቹ ማለት ዘምባ ምንድነው ሲዳር like ይሄ what are those trees ዝግባዎቹን ለመጠበቅ Enlil ያስቀመጠው Humbaba is a fierce guardian like why and another he's my friend second of all he's a terrifying guy why do you want beef with him and Enlil not just
I want problems
always Gilgamesh ready
I don't want peace no Gilgamesh
so yeah Humbaba it's very interesting not only is he fierce በቃ like የሆነ ለምዶ እንትን የደረሰበት አይነት ምናምን ትሬን አድርጎ የደረሰበት አይነት ነገር ሳይሆን Humbaba Enlil ሲፈጥረው he made it his lot to terrify men በቃ this is your lot in life ይሄ ነው ድርሻ your destiny your mandated manifested life and whatever it is in life that holds for you is የሰው ልጅን ማስፈራራትና ማስደንገጥ that is his whole nature so he's terrifying that is a journey which must not be made that is a man who must not be looked on he who guards the forest of cedar his reach is wide Humbaba his voice is the flood his speech is fire his breath is death he hears the forest murmur at 60 leagues distance who is there who would venture into his forest Adad ranks first and Humbaba the second. I don't know who Adad is. We'll learn about Adad another day, maybe. Who is there who would oppose him among the Ikigai? I don't know, maybe these are the divine, among the Ikigai. So to keep safe the cedars, ዝግባዎቹን ለመጠበቅ Enlil made it his lot to terrify men. If you penetrate his forest, you are seized by the tremors. ገና ጫካ ውስጥ ስትገባ ፍርሃት ማንቀጥቀጥ ይጀምራል ማለት ነው። As
ያው ኔቸርን እንዲጠብቅ ነው እንደዛ ተደርጎ
exactly እነዛን ዝግባዎች ለመጠበቅ ነው የተቀመጠው እና he can hear you from anywhere ገና ፎሬስቱ ውስጥ ስትገባ መንቀጥቀጥ ትጀምራለህ and then Gilgamesh ገገማው opened his mouth to speak saying to Enkidu, why my friend do you speak like a weakling? With your spineless words you make me despondent. ያንተ ካወርድስ ዲፕሬስ ያረገኝ ነው እና ለምን ቦቅዋቃቱ ሆነ as for man his days are numbered whatever he may do is but wind again and then
ምንም አያመጣም ነው
but and then he says የሰው ልጅ his days are numbered whatever he does በቃ ንፋስ ነው ምን እዚህ ገባ አይደለም but this exists not for me ብሎ ይናገራል ማለት ነው እኔ እንደ ሰው ልጅ አይደለሁም የሰው ልጅ የፈለገ ቢያረግ it matters not again I was this concept of time does not exist for me ይሄ እንትን ፍርሃት exists not for me because I am a part God but I am powerful in this earth ምንም ነገር እንትን ሊያረገኝ አልችልም I was made to be great ስለዚህ this will not enter me you were born and grew up in the wild even lions were afraid of you you experienced all grown men fled away from your presence your heart is tried and tested in combat come my friend let us go to the forest let us go to the forge not the forest sorry let us go to the forge let them cast us hatchets in our presence መጥረቢያ ይስሩልን በእያየናቸው መጥረቢያ ይስሩልን or ደግሞ ሄደው ገና ዛፎቹን እየቆረጡ
ሊያበሳጩት ነው
I don't even know man you never know Gilgamesh this guy is a crackhead and then they took each other by good ደስ የሚሉት እነዚህ ግባ like 3 meter tall guys እጅ ለእጅ ተያይዘው ዝም ብለው cuz በዛ ጊዜ በቃ everybody is like ምስኪን ነው በቃ ያዋ ስለሆኑ it's like በቃ እጅ ለእጅ ተያይዘው they're just walking everywhere
ሰው ሊገሉ ሄዱ እሺ
እኛማ መግደል አልፈልግም እያለ የተለማመጠው ነው ግን በቃ ጊልጋሜሽ እንትን ስለሆነ and he's more experienced in life he's just በቃ now we have to do this እያለ እንትን እያለው ነው and then they went to the forge where the smiths were sitting in consultation great hatchets they cast and axes weighing 3 talents apiece that is a large weight 3 talents like cent kilo መሰለ like it's large it's like በጣም ብዙ ኪሎ ነው አንድ ታለንት you want me to google it
yes please
እሺ 50 kilograms so
አንድ ታለንት
so these
so 150 kilogram
3 talents 150 ኪሎ የሆነ
so what you saying is
the axe head
የመጥረቢያው
axes in general they weighed 3 talents a piece
so የ150 ኪሎግራም አክስ ነው የሰሩላቸው so ጀለሶች በቃ basically አማልክት ናቸው ሰው አይደሉም
it's like
የ150 ኪሎግራም
አሁን አሁን
ቶር ሳመር አይነት ነገር ነው
like ጂም ራሱ ማለት ነው ይሄ በእግር የሚገፋው እንትን weight 75 ነበር መግፋት የምችለው that's just pushing it with my feet by the way and then imagine that's twice that and then they're lifting even like power lifters ክብደት ያነሱ 150 ያነሱ አረበ ከዛ በላይ
ያነሳሉ ግን
it's like ያሉ ነው የሚያነሱት አይደለ and then they pick it up and then they drop it but this is to be swung around
ይሄ አክስ ነው እንደዚህ
so these guys are huge እሺ great daggers they cast ከዛ እንትን ብሌዶችን ተሰሩላት 2 talents a piece were the blades
1 kilogram እንትኖች
yeah and then 1/2 of a talent the crests of their handles half a talent a piece the daggers gold mountings so like even the daggers ራሱ ለመቶ ምናምን ኪሎ ናቸው ማለት ነው he bolted the 7-fold gates of Uruk ከዛ በሩን ዘጋው ማለት ነው የኡሩክን በር
Gilgamesh.
ማንም እንዳይወጣ he convened the assembly the crowd gathered around in the street of Uruk the town square Gilgamesh seated himself on his throne in the streets of Uruk the town square the crowd was sitting before him thus Gilgamesh spoke to the elders of Uruk the town square hear me O elders of Uruk the town square I would tread the path to ferocious Humbaba I would see the god of whom men talk whose name the lands do constantly repeat. I will conquer him in the forest of Cedar. Let the land learn Uruk's offshoot is mighty. Let me start out, I will cut down the cedar. I will establish forever a name eternal. Wow. ስለዚህ ይህንን let me go and kill a god እና ራስ ስሜን በቃ መቼም እንዳይረሳ ስሜን ላስቀምጥ
ያው ሰይጣን ያለው ነገር ጋር በጣም ይቀራረባል
well it's
ዙፋኔን ከፍ አደርጋለሁ ራሴን ስታብሊሽ አደርጋለሁ
that's always the way of the ከስር ያለ the under how you make a name is by taking down someone greater than you አይደለ እና so he says look I will conquer him and I will establish a name for myself eternal and በቃ ማይረሳ name and then Gilgamesh spoke to the young men of Uruk the sheepfold hear me O young men of Uruk the sheepfold Of you, O young men of Uruk, who understand combat, bold as I am, I shall tread the distant path to the home of Humbaba. I shall face a battle I know not. I shall ride a road I know not. Give me your blessings as I go on my journey, so I may see again your faces in safety and return glad at heart through Uruk's gate. On my return, I will celebrate New Year twice over አዲስ አመት ሁለት ያከብራል ደስ ስለሚለኝ ማለት
ደግሞ bless me ምናምን ማለት
ሐራስ ያረጋቸው የነበሩትን ወጣቶች I will celebrate the festival twice in the year let the festival take place the merriment begin let the drums resound before wild counting soon ስለዚህ በእናቴ ፊት በቃ ሴሌብሬት ማድረግ ጀምሩ ይላቸዋል ማለት ነው
እጂ ላሸንፈውና ያንጀለስ ከዛን ባነት ሁለት አዲስ አመት አከብርላቸዋለሁ ያለ ነው
and then Enkidu offered counsel to the elders and the young men of Uruk who understood combat and then he tells them tell him not to go to the forest of Cedar that is a journey which must not be made that is a man who must not be looked on he who guards the forest of Cedar his reach is wide this Humbaba his voice is the flood his speech is fire his breath is death He hears the forest murmur at 60 leagues. Who is there who would venture into his forest? And then he says the rest of the things. And then the senior advisors rose. Good counsel they offered Gilgamesh. You are young, Gilgamesh, born along by emotion. All that you talk of, you don't understand. This Humbaba, his voice is the flood, his speech is fire, his breath is death. He hears the forest murmur at 60 leagues. Who is there who would venture into his forest? Gilgamesh heard the words of the senior advisors. He looked with a laugh at Enkidu. Now, my friend, how frightened I am. In fear of him, shall I change my mind? እንዴት እንደፈራውኝ እኔ ሐሳቤን በፍርሃት የምቀይር አይነት ሰው መስላለሁ ብሎ እንትን ይለዋል Tablet 3 Preparations for the expedition to the forests of Cedar ልንጨርስ እየደረስን ነው don't worry and then the elders of Uruk the sheepfold spoke to Gilgamesh to Uruk Kwe come back in safety ወደ ምድራችን በሰላም ተመለስ do not rely O Gilgamesh on your strength alone look long and hard land a blow you can count on. Who goes in front saves his companion. Who knows the road protects his friend. Let Enkidu go before you. He knows the journey to the forest of Cedar. He is tested in battle and tried in combat. He shall guard his friend and keep safe his companion. Enkidu shall bring him safe home to his wives. ስለዚህ ወደ ሚስቶች መልሶ በሰላም ያመጣል ዋው ጊልጋሜሽ የራሱ ሚስቶች ያለው ነው ደሞ
ይሄንን የሚያረጋው
ጋበኛ In our assembly we place the king in and then they said to Enkidu In our assembly we place the king in your care You bring him back and replace him in ours so put him back in our care ወደኛ መልስልን Gilgamesh opened his mouth to speak saying to Enkidu Come my friend let us go to the palace sublime into the presence of the great queen Ninsun where Nate Nihid yilawal. Ninsun is clever and wise Okay, I don't know how clever and wise she can be for a cow. Well versed in everything, she will set our feet in steps of good counsel. Taking each other hand in hand, Gilgamesh and Enkidu went to the palace sublime. Into the presence of the great queen Ninsun, Gilgamesh rose and entered before her. And he said, Gilgamesh, to her, to Ninsun, I shall tread, O Ninsun, or mother, bold as I am. The distant path to the home of Humbaba, I shall face a battle I know not. I shall ride a road I know not. I beseech you, give me your blessing for my journey. Let me see your face again in safety and return glad at heart through Uruk's gate.
Still blessing good
Yeah.
He's an interesting character.
Very interesting. On my return, I will celebrate the New Year twice over. I will celebrate the festival twice in the year. Let the festival take place. The merriment begin. Let the drums resound in your presence. O wild cow Ninsun. And she listened long and with sadness to the words of Gilgamesh, her son, and Enkidu. Into the bathhouse she went 7 times. She bathed herself in water of tamarisk and soapwort. She donned a fine dress to adorn her body. She chose a diadem to adorn her breast. So it's like a diadem is a crown you would wear on your head, but it's like Gil in this case it would be like a solid, like a stiff necklace she just wears around her neck ማለት ነው. Having put her on her cap, she donned her tiara. She climbed the staircase and went up on the roof. On the roof she set up a censer to Shamash. So Shamash is the sun god. Scattering incense, she lifted her arms in appeal to the sun god. Why did you afflict my son Gilgamesh with so restless a spirit? For now you have touched him, and he will tread the distant path to the home of Humbaba. He will face a battle he knows not. He will ride a road he knows not. During the days of his journey there and back, until he reaches the forest of cedar, until he slays ferocious Humbaba and annihilates from the land the evil thing you abhor. So Shamash hates Humbaba ማለት ነው. And he's called the evil thing. Enlil created Humbaba, but Shamash despises him ማለት ነው. The sun god despises the keeper of the forest. Each day, when you travel the circuit of the earth, may Aya the bride unfearing remind you, and entrust him to the care of your watches of the night. At eventide, may someone remind you. So she's just saying, ቀን ስትወጣ ያስታውሱ በቃ ፕሊስ ወደ ቤቱ እንዲመለስ እንድትጠብቀው ያስታውሱ እና she's going to the sun god. Why did you put this idea in his mind? ሄዶ ሁምባባን ፋይት እንዲያደርግ ለምን ይሄንን ሐሳብ በውስጡ አስቀመጥክ? አሁን ሄዶ ሊሞትብኝ ነው ልጄ እና በቃ like ስትወጣ may the Aya the bride and fearing እሷ ታስታውስ። ማታ ስትገባም ደግሞ someone else redacted ያስታውስ. You opened, O Shamash, the gates for the herd to go out. For you first came forth for the land. The uplands took shape. The heavens grew bright. The beasts of the wild looked upon your ruddy glow. ያንተን ብራይትነስ እያየ ይሄ ሁሉ ላንድ በቃ ለመለመ ማለት ነው። ላንዱም ፈካ and then ቢስቶቹም ቀና አሉ ማለት ነው. At the coming forth of your light is gathered the crowd. The divine Anunnaki await your brilliance. May Aya the bride unfearing remind you and trust him to the care of the watches of the night. So ሁሌም the Anunnaki and Aya the bride ያስታውሱ በቃ ቆሞ ይጠብቁ ያስታውሱ. Each day ዞረ ስትመለስ ልጄ every time you finish your cycle ልጄን በሰላም እንዲመለስ ያስታውሱ እያለች እንትን ትለዋለች. At the coming forth of your and then also while Gilgamesh so redacted ይሆናል ይሄን ፓርት ማለት ነው. While Gilgamesh travels to the forest of cedar, let the days be long, let the nights be short. የእናት እንትን ማለት ነው. So ቀኑ ይርዘምለት ምሽቶቹ ይጠሩለት like let his loins so you watch over him all the time ማለት ነው. It's like look away from him only for a brief moment. ሁሌ ተከተለው እንትን ሲል let his loins be girt, let his stride be sure. ሁሌም በሹርነስ ይንቀሳቀስ. Let him pitch at nightfall a camp for the night. Let nighttime be brief for him. May Aya the bride unfearing remind you the day Gilgamesh and Enkidu encounter Humbaba. O Shamash, rouse against Humbaba the mighty gale winds. South wind, north wind, east wind, and west wind. Blast, counterblast, typhoon, hurricane, and tempest. Devil wind, frost wind, gale, and tornado. ስለዚህ ጊልጋሜሽ እና ኤንኪዱ ሁምባባን ሲያገኙት ደግሞ ሻማሽ ተነሳበት ከዛ ንፋሶቹንም አስነሳበት የምዕራብን ንፋስ የሰሜንን ንፋስ የምስራቅን ንፋስ የደቡብን ንፋስ ከዛ ብላስት የሚያደርገውን ካውንተር ብላስት የሚያደርገውን የሚጋጩትን ታይፉኑን አስነሳ ሀሪኬኑንም ልቀቅ በቃ ሁሉንም ነገር ንፋሶቹን በሙሉ ከዛ ፍሮስት የሚያመጣውንም and then the gale the tornado እንዳለ ንፋሶቹን let rise 13 winds and Humbaba's face darken. Let the weapons of Gilgamesh then reach Humbaba after your very own fires are kindled. At that time, O Shamash, turn your face to the supplicant. Your fleet-footed mules shall bear you onwards. A restful seat, a bed for the night shall be what await you. The gods, your brothers, shall bring food to delight you. Aya, the bride, shall wipe your face dry with the fringes of your garment. In Hulu kaderakling, you will find much favor before your brothers, the other gods. Because Aya, the bride, I think she's the most beautiful. So the Ganala lekam by the way. Yeah, again, while Kaunin soon made her bequest before Shamash. O Shamash, will not Gilgamesh come before the gods? Will he not share the heavens with you? Will he not share with the moon a scepter and crown? Will he not grow wise with air of the ocean below? Will he not rule with Itnina, the black-headed people? Will he not dwell with Ningishzida in the land of no return? So she wants him to ascend and become a true immortal. Let me make him, O Shamash, redacted, lest he die, lest he is lost in the forest. After Wild Cow Ninsun had charged Shamash thus, Wild Cow Ninsun was clever and wise, well versed in everything. The mother of Gilgamesh, she smothered the censer and came. And then she came down from the roof. She summoned Enkidu and declared her will. And Enkidu, at 20 leagues you should break bread. Yenial distance kedachu. Okay, at 20 leagues you should break bread bla instruction መስጠት ትጀምራለች. And then Gilgamesh starts telling he gives instruction for the running of the city in his absence ማለት ነው Gilgamesh. So this ንንሱን መታ እንኪዱን ለመነችለት and then መታ እንኪዱ እንደዚህ ታረጋለህ ብለ ምክር መስጠት ትጀምራለች. and then Gilgamesh ደግሞ is talking to the city እንዴት ከተማው እንደሚያስተዳደሩ በሌለበት. During the days of our journey there and back until we reach the forest of cedar, until we slay ferocious Humbaba and annihilate from the land the evil things Shamash abhors, redacted dash, may you acquire no dash. So oh my god, take no ruler ማለት ነው. May you acquire no king. The officers must not assemble young men in the street. Judge the lawsuit of the weak, seek out justice. While we attain our desire like babies in arms and plant our weapons in Humbaba's gates. ስለዚህ አንድም ነገር እንዳትሰሩ እኔ በሌለውበት ህዝቡ እንዳይሰበሰብ እንትን እንዳትሉ ጃስቲስም እንኳን እንዳታካሄዱ እኔ በሌለውበት do not seek a ruler, do not seek acquire no king. Gather not the people እንዲህ እንዳታረጉ ብሎ ኢንስትራክሽን ይሰጣቸዋል. Until we attain our desire and we plant our weapons in Humbaba's gate አንድም ነገር እንዳታረጉ ብሎ እንትን ይላል. The officers stood there wishing well. The young men of Uruk ran behind in a mob and the officers kissed his feet. To Uruk's quay come back in safety. ወደ ከተማችን በሰላም ተመለስ. Do not rely, O Gilgamesh, on your strength alone. Look long and hard, land a blow you can count on. Who goes in front will save his comrade. Who knows the road shall guard his friend. Kaza in Kidun, they say what they said to him exactly before. Kaza, he is tested in battle and tried in combat. He shall guard his friend and keep safe his companions. Ilutal. And then in our assembly, we place the king in your care, bring him back and place him in ours. Of course. ምክንያቱም there is none like him, at least in that case ማለት ነው. And then Enkidu opened his mouth to speak, saying to Gilgamesh, my friend, turn back. Do not pursue this journey. Yeah. Enkidu, and then it becomes fragmentary. Enkidu opened his mouth, saying to Gilgamesh, where you set your mind, begin the journey. Let your heart have no fear. Keep your eyes on me. In the forest I knew his lair, and the ways too that Humbaba wanders. Speak to the crowd and send them home. And then redacted. They should not go with me, but instead to you. The crowd with happy heart accepted as they heard the crowd with happy heart rejoiced when they heard what he had said. Okay, any redacted ነው. The young man made a fervent prayer. Go Gilgamesh, let your journey be successful. May your gods go before you. May Shamash let you attain your goal. Gilgamesh and Enkidu went forth.
ሸኙት ታኒድ ያለው ነው ጓደኛው ግን still በቃ እንግዲህ እምቢ ስላለ ጀለስ ሸኙት.
So this is the ending of the first 3 tablets of the Epic of Gilgamesh.
ጀለስ ማሽ ነው በእርግጠኝነት.
I don't know, maybe I could do a second part another time. And not so wow, there's like 7 more tablets.
So good.
So yeah, Gilgamesh loses Enkidu and he builds a monument for him after they go to fight Humbaba Manamen. Enkidu immortal Manamen, and they do all that, and then Gilgamesh the Mu becomes a wild man in turn. And I think you know what? I think I'll save this for another time.
Yeah.
The second part of the Epic of Gilgamesh. Ganesti min tamark from the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Basically ስለ ሰይጣን ትምህርት የሰጠህ ይመስለኛል. ስለ ሰይጣን ትምህርት ስለ
Okay, you need to phrase that better.
ስለ ሰይጣን ትምህርት ስለ pride እና downfall ማለት ነው.
Okay.
It's እንጃ yes እሺ let me say it እንደዚህ አጠራርጌ ለማለት ሞክራለሁ. የመጀመሪያው ነገር it's interesting that የድሮ ሰዎች በራሳቸው በሌጀንድ በለው በሚቶሎጂ በwhatever በሚያስቡ የሰው ልጅ ሁሌ ጥሩና መጥፎ ነገር ብሎ የሚያስባቸው ነገሮች አሉ. ለምሳሌ ውድቀትን ሁሌ ምንድነው የሚያመጣው? ፕራይድ አይደል? መጽሐፍ ቅዱስም አለው ምንም አለው ከእግዚአብሔርም ውስጣችን የምናቃቸው እውነቶች አሉና ያንን እውነቶች ለመናገር I think mythology ምናምን dramatized የሆኑ ታሪኮች ናቸው. አፈ ታሪክ ነው አይደል የሚባለው ሌጀንዶች እንደዚህ. So የአፈ ታሪክ ጥቅሙ is የሰው valuable የሆነ ነገር ስቶሪ ለመናገር የሚጠቀመው ነገሮች ነው እና that's interesting. So yes Gilgamesh የሆነ አማልክት አሉ ምናምንና ቁጭ ብሎ ስቶሪ ይሄንን ነገር ሲፈጥሩ ግን ስለ basically እየተወራ ያለው ስለ pride እና ስለ ውድቀት ነው. እኔ ማንንም አይችለኝም እንደዚህ አርጌ ሄጄ እንትንላለው ብሎ ሰውን ቴሮራይዝ ያደርግ ኖሮ ሄዶ መጨረሻ ላይ ሞተ ነው ሐሳባ. መሞቱ ብቻ ሳይሆን እኔ እንደው ታቃለ also I think የዘራውን ታጭዳለህም አይነት ስቶሪ ነው. ምድር ላይ ምን ሲያደርግ ነበር? ሰው ያገባ እሱ መጀመሪያ ከባልየው ቀድሞ ሚስቱን ሲያውቅ ነበር ምናምን ሰውን ቴሮራይዝ ሲያደርግ ነበር. ንጉስ ሆኖ በመንገድ ላይ ወንዶችንም ሲያስቸግር ነበር በመደባደብ ሴቶችንም ደግሞ እንትን ሲል ነበር. basically እየዘራ የነበረው ሰውዬ ምንድነው? ኬዎስ ነው እየዘራ የነበረው. ኬዎስ ደግሞ የምትዘራ ሰው ከሆንክ በሞት ታጭደዋለህ. and then I think that's the biggest lesson. The biggest lesson is ራስህን ሃንድል የምታደርግበት በህይወት አሳደው እንደሚመጣው ወጥ ነው. ዛሬ ማጅራት መጪውን ዛሬ ሌባሁን ዛሬ በሰው ምንድነው ያልተገባህን ነገር የሰው የሆነ ነገር ውሰድ ነገ ምንድነው ህይወት ይወሰዳል. ህይወት እስኪወሰድም ብቻ ሳይሆን people will resent you እና የዘራውን ታጭዳለህ ነው. so ተገቢ ነገር ማድረግ ጥሩ ነገሮችን ማድረግ ለማንም ብቻ ሳይሆን ለራስ ነው.
I don't think Gilgamesh died. I think Enkidu ነው የሞተው.
ከዛ
lost a great friend.
ከዛ ግን ብቻ ግን ሳድ ነው ስቶሪው መጨረሻው ነው. so የዘራውን ከማጨድ እንትን አይልም ነው. እና እንዲሁም ብዙ ጊዜ ምንድነው እንደዚህ ብዙ መጥፎ ነገር የሚያደርጉ ሰዎች የሆነ vicious cycle ነው አይደል ሲባል እኔ በልጅነቴ እንደዚህ ተደርጋለሁ ሰው ነው አመቡልኝ አሁን ሄጄ ሰው ነው ጋለው ምናምን እንደፈለኩኝ አደርጋለሁ ነው ግን የሚያስቀው ነገር and now people hate you because you do those things
and then they mistreat you and then now you feel justified in doing those
እና በጣም vicious የሆነ circle ነው. so የሆነ ክፋት ከባድ circle ነው. ክፉ ስለሆንክ ክፋት አንተን ያሳድዳል. ክፋት አንተን ስለሚያሳድድ ሰዎችን ደግሞ ሄደ ክፋት ታደርጋለህ. so you can only break the circle ኢቨን ክፋት ለሚያደርጉ ሰዎች ይቅርታ ነው የሚሻለው የሚባለው ለምንድን ነው? ይቅርታ በማድረግ you're breaking the cycle አይደል? ጥሩ ነገር በማድረግ እና so I guess later in episode 10 እናወራለን ስለ victim mentality ምናምን ግን how we can break the cycle of ክፋት is ጥሩ ነገር በማድረግ so የዛሬው ሌሰን የወሰድኩት ምንድነው ባባ ለራስህ ስትሆን ጥሩሁን ምንድነው ጫው ምንድነው
ለራስህ ስትልጣ ለራስህ ስትልጣ ድንጋይ ነው ብለው ይጥለዋል
literally that's what I have to say. Do you have any last words?
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. እስቲ ፕሊስ ትነግሩናላችሁ ምን እንደምታስቡ ስለ ስቶሪ ታይም ምናምን እንዲህ አይነት ነገር ማድረግ ደስ ይለኛል I like reading እንደዚህ እንትኖችንና meaning decipher ማድረግ ምናምን ደስ ይላል it's very interesting
ሙሴ ባይዘው ሂስቶሪያን እንደዚህ ቁጭ ብሎ ሲሰክሰን እኔ ምንም ማያውቀው ቢሆን እኔ አልሰማሁም
ለመሆን እየተማርኩኝ ነበር ነው የሚባለው
ሂስቶሪያን ለመሆን ጥረት ላይ ነው ግን thank you man
thank you
እስቲ we'll do እንደዚህ አይነት ነገሮች አይደል more creative ነገሮች ስቶሪዎች በሌላም ይዘት ያላቸው በሌላ አቀራረብ ለማድረግ እንሞክራለን እስከዛ የሚሰማችሁ ነገር ንገሩን and also more importantly let us know ስለምን እንዲወራ እንደምትፈልጉ if you have questions if you have comments ምናምን our doors are open
please ወደ ቅፋችን ኑና ግቡ
please ወደ ቅፋችን የኢትዮጵያ ህዝብ
please
ወደ ላይ ይዘን እንወጣቸዋለን ብለሃል
ብያለሁ
so thank you this was great
እንግዲህ
ቻርን ሰንብት ብለናል
peace
bye bye